Everybody has a story of how things became what it is.
And all of the stories that we're experiencing up to date are all based on the original mythological story.
Myths are ways of codifying profound truths.
And so, in order to pass on the knowledge of these things, our ancestors began to put them in the form of stories.
Because myth becomes a way of speaking to that.
And it's all considered to be mythology because it is based on a belief.
And then we create rituals that reinforces the logic and the knowledge of the myth.
The story then goes into a ceremony that is constantly going to remind people.
That's where the rituals come in, where we begin to practice this, what they call Assyrian drama.
This story, this African story of an African trinity, is over 6,000 years old.
There's several different pieces of that story that are in direct correlation to the story of Jesus.
Scholars know this. Why do they allow people keep thinking it's a religion unless they have an untoward agenda? And it's very clear that they've created a lot of confusion.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am fabulous. Good evening. Good evening.
Well, good evening to you. How you look very lovely today. Good. Hello. Where you going?
To the other side of the moon, okay?
I want to go. Can I go with you?
Me too. You look very lovely as well. Thank you.
Thank you, my darling. Well, two lovely women today. How are you on this Friday?
I am doing good. I'm actually very glad it's Friday and looking forward to this upcoming week with a lot of celebrations for MLK Day and just more community. Community. I'm looking forward to it.
So community. Well, I haven't been very communal lately.
Yeah, I mean, with everything jumping up with the COVID, it's very hard to do that right now. Just be grateful that you get to be here right now because it's not comfortable.
That is very true. It's also, I'm glad you said, trying to figure out how to date in COVID could be a little tricky.
hmm Actually, yes, that was one of the topics I was hoping that we could get into because it is more difficult now. First of all, you can't even walk around looking how you look, right? So about half of our face is cut off. So it's what does Tyra Banks say? You have to smile, so,
Yes.
smile with your eyes and be alluring with your eyes and the other parts of your body language. But that's actually a good thing. That's where the very opportunity that you would normally use your voice or maybe your smile, you would have to now rely on some of those other feminine qualities to be attractive.
I love how you say that. You know what? Even though I wear my mask everywhere, people can still see my smile underneath my mask. And I can actually
Absolutely.
meet people. I have met men, because I'm single, with a mask on. So it is
hmm
definitely possible. You just have to still let your personality kind of shines through a little bit, like kind of put that femininity in there.
Yeah, and really just let all of those things. I mean, there's the way we walk, it's the softness and the ease in which we move about. There's a confidence that all of that should be exuding. That if one element wasn't visible, it would not even pick up for the other person's radar because so many of your other parts are all working in tandem with each other. They're all still very, very much part of your aura. So yeah.
So what is your aura, Tia Marie?
Oh, I would like to think that probably the first thing that people notice about me is just my confidence. It's such a key thing. Often confidence is equated with like masculinity, but a confident woman is someone who's really just assured of who she is and when she's in a space, what her role is in that space. And I think a lot of women have that either naturally or can gain that over time. So those are some of mine. What about you? What are some of your feminine attributes? What do you do to attract the opposite sex?
I think it's more like I'm very mysterious, so people kind of they're intrigued by what's going on. They like the mysteriousness. I'm like, okay, so I think that's kind of my aura a little bit, but that's that Scorpio in me, right? So I was thinking, don't.
Oh. Okay. All right. Now, I would say the other thing, though, I would even compliment you on is just there's a joy and ease. There's a comment all the time about like women who walk around with like a resting certain
Bee
kind of
face?
face, right? Yeah, a resting bee face. I'll keep it somewhat PG.
Are we
But
PG?
it's a lot of what you feel on the inside, and sometimes you do have to fake it till you make it. There are not every single day do I feel like, hello everybody. But I know that when I am out and about, that is what I want to convey, regardless of if that's how I feel in that exact moment or not. And sometimes just by doing that, it actually makes me feel better. So we want to walk around with our thoughts being on positive things. That's all part of our confidence. The setbacks that might give us negative thoughts, we can just remove those quite quickly.
I like that. So there's a few things that's happening in the news. I don't know how hip you
Mm.
are, so I'm becoming way more hipper. Just so you know.
Yes, you are. Absolutely. No, I'm going
Anybody
to give
has,
you that because I don't. I'm not.
don't give it
Give it
to me.
to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. What you
This is
got?
another thing I'm learning. So you remember Denise Huxtable? So that would be Lisa Monet.
Hmm.
I think she's very attractive. I do. I think she's an attractive lady. And married to the guy.
I believe is it Jason? No, what's his name? I
That's
can't remember
it.
his name, but
It is
okay,
Jason.
it's
That is
something. Oh
correct.
my God. Yes.
I heard they're
Yes.
getting a divorce. I was
Wow.
really sad to kind of hear that. I mean, even though I don't follow them, I don't know. I didn't even know they were married. Till somebody told me
Hmm.
like a year ago, and I don't know how long they've been married, but I think he filed for divorce.
Wow.
And so I don't know. I'm gonna double check, but this is all gossip. But I've been seeing it a
Okay.
lot. So I'm just like, wow. I just hate to see that happening, and it kind of leads us into the topic a little bit too. Like 5 tips to help women when dating over 40. Now, ladies, if you are 20 and up, 21 and up, because I'm speaking 21 and up, but Auntie Tia Marie may, be compete with y'all. I don't know. This cousin Rod said it's Auntie.
Well, well, here's the reason. Yes, exactly. I'm auntie. I'll
Right,
be
yeah,
auntie.
I
I'm
ain't
fine
Auntie
with that.
today. Not tonight.
Uh,
Well, yes, but not tonight. It's Friday night. It's the
well,
single ladies, right?
okay. Okay. So
Okay.
what I will say is there are these different factions, right? So some of us, once you reach, so 40 for me was that pinnacle. So if anybody didn't know, I'm over 40. I'm over 40. It's
Are
okay. I
you?
love it. I
Oh, I thought
am.
you were
And
like
actually, next month is
34.
my birthday. So I'll be in higher age
Yay!
in the 40s.
Woo! I need some
So,
higher. I forgot what I told you. I forgot what I told your daughter the other time. But yeah, so you'll be in your 40s still, though, right? So you're still in your
mhm,
40s.
I'm
I don't
still
know
in
if
my
you're
40s,
single or not.
loving every minute of my 40s, to be honest. And that's why I say there's this other path. Like when you're in your 30s, you are definitely, holding it down, you're on your grind. But there is this other, women used to tell me about this when I was in my 30s, that there was this new level at your 40s, which was amazing. And what I'm hoping is that the women who are in their 50s and they tell me how amazing that is, that I just ease right on into that. This is not off limits for the younger ladies. They can definitely join because it's still maybe something that they can learn or apply to their dating adventure. So,
I like that. Well, I'm kind of new into my 40s, and I will say this though, honestly, this is the most time I've been most comfortable, most assured of myself. Like, cause in your 20s, oh, my 20s was just a wreck. I mean, I was crazy. Like,
I think we all were a hot mess. If
we
you were
were
a hot mess in the
just
20s, please put something in the chat.
yes,
If
so
you
we
were
do
a hot
have
mess
some
in your
chat
20s.
going on. Well,
Hmm.
we do have take a few minutes. We have Taylor Banks who says you ladies look amazing. Well, I'm sure you look
Well,
amazing,
thank
honey.
you,
I
daughter.
I know this. So thank you. And I know you looking good, even though if you might have some PJs on. I don't know, but I'm gonna roll with that. We also have another one from Mr. Charles Alexander. Hello, ladies. Like
Oh,
the
thank you.
intro. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you
please
very
be on
much
the
for the
lookout for
intro.
that. Yes, yes. Oh, we have a special. Now this is a diva. Okay.
Oh, there we
Now,
go.
this is look now.
Thank you, Natalie, too, for joining. I'm thinking, can I just am I allowed to do a little plug for Miss
You are
Natalie?
allowed to do whatever
All
you
right,
want.
I'm gonna do a couple plugs. So Natalie Garcia is actually my sister, who's here in Michigan with me, but hails from the other side of the state, and she sells jewelry with her company called Royal Radiance Jewelry. So if I am allowed to do a shameless plug, please check her out on Facebook, Royal Radiance Jewelry. I'm actually wearing a couple pieces right now. If you want to see what it looks like, very, very pretty stuff.
Very
I
beautiful.
really love this bracelet. I like silver, so having
Is that gold? Yeah, you know what? Natalie, if you can please put your information in the chat and I can post it for people who are interested in purchasing
Yes.
your jewelry as well,
Yes,
Natalie.
please
You
do.
can put your information in the chat and I will, make sure people can see it.
Yes,
I'm
thank
surprised that
you.
you're wearing gold. Like this whole
No, this is all silver. It's all silver.
Oh,
I'm always
okay,
gold.
okay.
It's my golden skin that makes it look golden,
You
I
do
think.
have a golden
But
undertone. A golden
um the other plug that I want to do is that my daughter Taylor actually has a company called Raw Creations, and she'll know what this symbol means, right? Raw Creations. And I have many T-shirts from her. One of the things that I like about her products and my sister's products as well is that they both know I'm a very picky customer. I'm an extremely picky customer,
This
but
is
it. But that's because I know what I like, right? I know what I like. And
Mhm.
so they are really great at doing t-shirts for my daughter. She's done masks for me. She also has done jewelry, and we'll be doing a show in February at a local school for a marketplace event to have some companies come.
Oh,
So if there are
when
companies out
when
there
is that
that
going to happen? The
yeah,
marketplace?
so I'm
No,
gonna
no,
probably do a commercial. I can't say the school
we'll talk
just yet.
about that. Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, definitely check out Raw Creations. Please put your information in the
It's
chat
Raw
so that people
Creations
can
3, if
find
I'm
you.
not mistaken.
You are right. Thank you so much. Raw Creations 3,
That's
which
the
is,
auntie coming out. See what I'm saying? Look, I
thank you.
can't. Even though I'm
I
not
mean,
auntie tonight, I'm cousin, but that was the auntie coming out.
no, thank you. Raw Creations 3, Taylor Banks, and Royal Radiance Jewelry on both are on Facebook, Natalie Garcia. And so thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. And for those who will be watching later, please don't hesitate to also send me chats. The great thing about this channel is that we have just launched Kindred Souls, which is the name of tonight's show, where we'll be talking about different relationship issues, questions, concerns, what's going on in that sphere. That I am so grateful that Ra Acid is always up to date. First of all, she's a wonderful producer. This show would not be happening if it were not for her and her talent, because Auntie over here does not have a talent for that. So thank you. I'm good at what I'm doing right now, which is talking to you all.
We all have a lane. We all have a lane.
So just thank you all for coming onto the show and just hanging out with us tonight. So those 5 wonderful tips.
Woo, I'm excited about this because now I have my tips. Did you have any tips that you would like to share?
I do, but I'll let you go first. How about that?
Okay. So let me go first then. So there's 5 tips that I would say being a professional dater, kind of sort of. I'm not a serial dater, but I've been single my whole life, never married. So I've been in the game, whether it's young or old. What's that saying? If anybody watches Sex in the City, she's like, I've been dating since I was 10. Like, you just feel like you've been dating. So some of the things that has definitely helped me, especially over 40, because unfortunately, ladies, this was like really important, I think, for women that's over 40, even 35-ish, kind of say, depending. The reality is dating will be different compared to 42 and 31. Like you can go back, 9 to 11 years on the difference of dating. So that kind of really leads me to my very first point. And the number one tip, well, I will ask, and it's a tip, but the question is, what type of relationship do you want? Right? So tip 1 is you have to figure out what kind of relationship you want. So here I have now. Here go the hip part of me. The FWB. That means. Can you take a guess? I think you're pretty hip. What do
You said
FWB mean?
FWB?
Mhm.
Ooh,
Oh God, don't
FWB.
embarrass us. Come on now. You in your
Ooh,
40s.
I cannot think of it right now. I'm
You
not.
gonna be mad
I'm not feeling creative enough
when okay.
to guess.
Friends with benefits. Remember those?
Oh
Oh, so you're
yes.
gonna be mad when I tell you. See, it's been so long. See, when you're in your 40s, well, some women do want that, but I don't know. Friends with benefits. So, do you want friends with benefits? We kind of know what that means if you're going to be PG. Okay, Lord. Friends only. And I can put that also into the category of like a pen pal. So, like if you are online dating, I did not put that into any equation in here,
Did you say
but
pen pals, like old school pen pals?
it'll be email pen pals. I mean, yeah, because really think about it, it'll be text pal. Every woman has met a man. If you're single, well, all he do is just text you to death. It's really no trying to hook up with you or anything like that, or go out, take you out to dinner, or meet you or see you. It's constant texting. You get the good morning text, you get all these. That's a pen pal to me, right? Or if they ask you, what do you like to do? What kind of man you like via text? It's like, I mean, how can you put all of this in a text? I don't know, but so what type of relationship do you want? Do you want a friends with benefits? Do you want friends only? Would you like a long-term relationship? Because some people do not, well, I would say don't believe, but necessarily don't want to get married, but they do want to be in a committed long-term relationship without marriage. And then you have the woman who wants marriage. So the number one tip, first tip, well, it's not number one. The first tip is to find out what type of relationship you want, because then you can kind of move accordingly. So I don't know if you're single or not. We really didn't get into that. I kind of spilled my personal information. So if you were single,
I'm not spilling my beans.
are you one of those?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you're the mysterious one.
Well, let's see. If I will spill the beans when I reach 100 subscribers. How about that? Since this is new.
I love it. So if we could just get those likes up too, because that way, maybe if we can get some likes up, maybe we can get her to spill the beans. I love it. So we need 100 subscribers. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, we had 6 subscribers. That is like awesome in like 24 hours.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good. Okay.
My channel
22 subscribers.
Don't have any. So yes, you have 6 subscribers so far. So maybe we can get people to kind of go over, to Kendrick Soul with Tia Marie, her channel. And I think it's I love the name, first of all, right? I think that's a beautiful.
Oh yeah, bringing us all together.
I think that's really nice. So all right. So so we have tip number 1. So what do you think about that? How do you feel about tip number 1?
So you definitely need to know what kind of relationship you want, or else you will find yourself in a relationship that you cannot get out of, that you never wanted. And that's where I say going back to I'm just saying, you will find yourself somewhere you do not want to be.
Blink twice if you need help.
Exactly. Actually, there's this whole video like about what you're supposed to do with your hands if you're in a bad
you need some help. Get some signals. Okay. We
But,
definitely want to be in that relationship.
thank you, Miss Stacy, for being with us. I see her comment in the chat. Thank you, darling. That's somebody who's been ride or die with us. That's somebody who's a mentor for me as well. But I will say you definitely need to know what kind of relationship.
Stacy is the oracle. Stacy is the oracle.
Yeah, I'm baby oracle. That's mama oracle right there, for real.
Stacy, we love you, Stacy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I will say definitely trying to figure out what you want. So the first part, even before that, would be, again, centering with yourself to figure out what is your goal, where would you like to be, so that, thank you, Taylor, where would you like to be, because relationships are so complicated that, like, you got to know, like, are you okay here? Are you okay here? Before you can even enter into that. And I think that's what will help you determine what kind of relationship you want to be in. Or even if you want to be in one at all.
Well, that I was going to say, so since I'm spilling the beans, I'm cousin today. I should change my name. But so if I'm spilling the beans, right? If I'm going to spill the beans and the type of relationship I would want, I'm going to go with So I have 4 choices here. I'm gonna go with marriage.
Marriage. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go with marriage. So if I want I'm single, I want marriage. So my tip number 2 will actually be to myself would be, this is very important too. How much time can you dedicate to that partner or potential partner? Because I think when we get older or mature, well, and I'm gonna go. My niece, she said something when I asked, but she said we called it middle age the other day. That's what we called it. So thank you very much, Taylor. Appreciate it. Look, I'm not middle aged today. Okay. So I'm a hot 42. I'm very proud of my age. Okay, I'm because I can't believe it. But anyway, so the thing will be, how much time can you dedicate to that partner? Because you have so many other things going on. Life progresses, right? So like me, I have a mom that I'm taking care of. Luckily, I don't have any young children, so I don't have to worry about that. But it's still time taking care of elderly parent. And really now almost an elderly cousin, because I've been really helping out my cousin, with his situation and trying to start a business, run a business. And now you want to have a personal life. Like, how do you incorporate that? What would you do to make sure that happens? Like, what would you suggest?
So this is an area that I am probably guilty of not paying enough attention to. I work a lot. You all know how much I work. I work sun up to sundown, 7 days a week. I don't have young children, but I have a lot of community children, if you will. And I work in the education field, so I do multiple jobs, multiple services. And I am often finding myself, one, with very little time, even probably for myself, that what time is allotted for a partnership is always somewhat under strain. But it is very key in order to have a successful relationship. What I would tell women who are, let's say, maybe dating, let's say you're over 40, life is what life is, and you are thinking about maybe dating. It's going to be very difficult to do things spontaneously. So it will require some maneuvering. I tell a lot of women, if their schedule's like mine, my schedule's like booked out for the next 3 months. So I'd have to schedule like my date. I know. I'd have to schedule a date in like 3 months
to go out with you.
But the reason I say go forward is, like, you can't just decide, oh, tomorrow I'm going to be dating, right? Most people don't have that kind of schedule. So you may want to say, hey, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to, make sure I do all the lady grooming, all the lady, maintenance, get that done, because, you don't want to be out there with like a mustache. And maybe schedule sort of that time for yourself. And then maybe think about what the week after that might look like, and just letting, maybe your partner interest or your love interest, or know that you are on the market and you'd like to do something that weekend ahead of time, like maybe a week ahead, so you can actually plan it out. But you do have to set aside time to be able to date, and find whatever the balance will be for you. It's really crucial. And really that continues into marriage. So in order to even get to marriage, yes, you have to do that part. But even in marriage, I want to express, it is extremely key that you continue to make that time. Maybe it's Friday date night. Maybe it's on Saturday. Maybe it's in early morning when that snuggle time is happening.
Ooh.
And you just want some quiet,
like
romantic snuggle time. So, you got to figure out, each couple has a different vibe. Some people wake up and they're like, they don't.
I wake up and like, where the party at? Right? Everybody else like, what? I'm like, yes, it's morning, right? So I definitely want to give. I'm sorry. Ooh, I had a little technical.
So you're too excited. Too excited.
That's because we talking about morning time wake up or nighttime wake up. So I definitely want to take some time out to say hello to Kelly B. She said, "Hey ladies, love the conversation.
Hey,
thank you for joining us, Kelly. Thank you. Woohoo!"
Can I also acknowledge that Morgan also joined They must want to know my tips because we just actually spiked up in subscriptions.
I'm
So you
telling
all
you,
want me
everybody
to spill the beans. Okay.
well, we said we got to get to 100.
100
So spread the
subscribers and I'll
word,
spill some
spread
beans.
the word because we have more to come. Because, I'm excited about this. So listen, that's how you do it right there. Everybody want to know. The number 2 tip, the question to the number 2 tip is, how much time can you dedicate to your partner? Now, I would suggest, honestly, at least 2 days out the week, you need to set aside, 3 hours, 4 hours. If you can do more, fine, but I think a minimum of 2 weeks, 2 days out the week, to really get to know someone, because you have to really be in a person's presence. You really have to kind of get a feel for. You can talk on the phone too, because you have time for that. But an actual in-person meet, I would say at least 2 days, maybe a night, evening, and maybe a brunch or during the day. Or if you can go more than that, that's fine, depending on how much time you have. If you have a lot of time, then hey, I think that's the more time you have, ladies. So this is the thing, ladies. The more time you have, the more success you will have in getting a man, because a man wants you to be accessible. Men really don't like you to be busy a lot of times. So you really have to be very careful to make sure, because another woman gonna get that time. Right? That's the truth, especially if he's a man that's got it going on. You have to really be persistent. Again, we're dating after 40. So you really have to dedicate time, because you have to build an emotional relationship with him. You can't just, kind of be blah, blah, blah. Like, what is he going to like about you if he don't know nothing about you? How he going to miss your presence and he's not really around your presence?
This is true. And that's why I say I
How
struggle.
you going to know how you smell when you right? I just went out and bought some new perfume too, ladies, right? So the perfume that went up.
Mhm.
That's why I really need
I think all those industries are going to be
perfume.
under strain.
Ladies, the perfume I want is $320. So yeah. Okay. So you have to set aside time, dedicated time, purposely, to be and get to know him. You guys get to know each other. So, we always say, number 1 is what kind of friendship you want. So if you just want friends with benefits, we definitely gonna set time right then. Yeah, you set time then because you want some benefits. Physical. Let's get physical. Okay, right?
Okay, let's do this real quick. So you just gave a really great point. If there are any questions, I just want to take a pause to take a look at any questions in the chat. I'm also looking at a couple of things just to see if there are any other notes to be aware of. Okay, all right, I think we're doing good. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Charles Alexander says, work-life balance. That was pre-chat to me.
I think preach.
Okay, preach to me by my bosses. Okay. Thank you. See, you are
this is where I have to like work-life struggle balance on what we're doing here.
He's correct. Because you really do have, because you can't be all work and no play. You can't be all play and no work.
I'm all play and no work.
And that's the problem. You gotta de-work. But who wants to work really hard anyway? I don't. So listen, being T's producer is enough work in itself. Just imagine I had like 2 of these. No, thank you. I got you. Preach to me by your bosses. So thank you for clearing that for us, Charles. I appreciate that. He's absolutely correct. Charles has some really good points. Okay, well, what the funk is this?
What the funk? Welcome. All right, so let me ask. So since we have a couple fellas in the room, let's have the fellas help us out for some of the ladies who are in here. Okay.
I would love for them to share.
Oh, my daughter, I love you, Taylor. Did you see Taylor's comment? I think you're right about that, Taylor.
Now, is this good or bad? Now, I'm going to say it's
Any other fellas in the house, I'm gonna let y'all because that's the thing. Like that's the thing that makes
teamwork.
me so happy.
I will
'Cause it's not just the
trademark
work.
that.
Yeah, yeah, I love that.
It's
Thank you.
teamwork.
Taylor.
Like,
You're
just break it on down, right? I don't want to be doing all this. I don't. It takes me
I
long
know.
enough just to get cute. You have to match.
Yeah.
Okay, Taylor Banks, you have to match the energy. I'm going to come back to that. I am, because I do understand exactly what you're saying, honey.
So Taylor said, "I've got this energy out there, and I'm going, and it's this train," and she's saying, uh, you got to match it. You got to come up. But I know what you're gonna say, so I'm gonna let you play devil's advocate. Although I
I'm not
love
going
what
to go
Taylor
there.
just said. I
Yes.
think she's right for me, but I would not recommend that for other women. I think that's what I will say, because there are not a lot of men, being real talk, who would try to match this grind. They would probably look for someone a little more feminine, and that workspace is usually not very feminine, unfortunately, because in that space I'm a boss. And so,
Well, you can
so
be a boss
I don't
too.
recommend that for every person. I don't. Actually, I would recommend someone who had a much better balance than I did when it came to that work love balance, baby. But Taylor is very, very right. That is my love language, though.
And but
I'm
I'm
no,
going to know
do
that
you?
one.
I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead. You do yours. Go ahead. Give it to
I'm
us.
not going to touch this topic right now, because that's
Okay.
that's something else, right? So
Just staying in order. Okay. All right. All right.
that's another topic. But I get what Taylor is saying. The energy, I gotta match my energy. I get it, but we're gonna come back to that. So on to topic number 3. So I think this is really important, because you
We
need
didn't
to
do
know what
two.
your standards are. Oh, 2
We
was
did two.
mhm,
What's the
2 was
time?
the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So number 1 is, what kind of relationship do you want? Do you want friends with benefits? Do you want friends only? Long-term marriage? Like, once you establish that, okay. Now we're going to go to, how much can you dedicate? How much time do you have to dedicate to your partner? Like, and you also said, even pre-dating, dating, and marriage. This follows
Gotta
all the
make
way
the
through.
time.
Yes,
Yeah.
we agree with that.
Time is the currency of a marriage. So yeah.
You got to put that work in. But if you aren't working, I mean, what does that mean? How is that gonna work? I don't know. Maybe y'all know something I don't.
Well,
All
I'm
right.
hoping my husband will retire me.
Well, that's the point. And you have enough. You'll have enough experience to run a home. You know how to manage a home. You know how to cook and clean. You know how to please and be quiet, right? You know how to shut up, shut them off. Okay. All right. So number
I
3
thought we
is,
were gonna get into that other tip later. Okay, well, you're jumping ahead. Go ahead.
actually, that's not even on one of my tips at all.
Oh,
But
I
that's
thought we were going to talk about. We'll give you guys some subtopics, but what she just touched on was one of the subtopics. But
well,
go
you
ahead.
can talk on that, because that's a hot topic. Women don't want it. That could be a whole separate show in itself. All right. So number 3 would be, for me, I think this would have been probably my top 2. Number 1 is, what kind of relationship do I really want to establish for myself? But this one is, what are your standards? Because I have actually, I didn't even know how to articulate that or equate that into a relationship for myself. I thought just showing up, I don't even know what I thought, right? Just basically showing up was good enough, right? That's what I thought.
I'm here.
Oh, what the fun! Congratulations and happy birthday to you too. He just turned 40, so he's a part of the club now.
Oh, yes. Welcome to the club. It is fabulous being 40.
Yes, what the funk is this? We are streaming live on YouTube, on my channel, Combative with a Nice Voice, also Tia Marie's channel, which is Kendrick Soul with Tia Marie, and on Facebook. So we are we can be other places too, but I didn't even sign us up. But so thank you with the funk. My number 3 tip is, figure out what is your standard. like your preference. What are you willing to accept and not accept? That right there, I think, was really difficult. And I can equate that to what kind of lifestyle do you want, right? Do you want, and I said this the other night, don't take me to no Jeezy concert.
Oh yeah, so we do need to talk about that a little bit more. Once you are at a certain age,
But no, we
ladies,
can't say that because you have women that are 40 that love Jeezy and go to the Jeezy concert, right? That's their thing. But I know what you're going to say, but you can say what you're going to say. But I'm going to say on my position, do not take me to no Jeezy concert. How about that? Don't think about it. Now, Boney James, I can't think of his name. Kissimmee Washington, Stanley Clark. I've been, or like old school, yes.
Okay.
But my standards is that's a no. Even if you bought the ticket, surprising me, and you bought the tickets, I'm not going. First of all, I don't have nothing to wear, so can't walk around heels in no Jeezy concert. So, okay, so that's just not gonna happen. And the only gym shoes I'm wearing is to the gym, so or go running. So my standards has to be your standards. You have to know your standards, and a lot of ladies don't even understand what that means. Men do. That's the thing. Men have standards. They know the standards because they determine if they're going to wife you or not based upon your standards.
True.
And we don't realize that, right? So if you a nice girl but you give it up too soon, he's going to judge you on that. And you can legitimately be a really nice, good girl, like for real, but you really like this guy and the energies match. I can go back to that, Taylor. Your energy match. So you may be quicker to okay. We have a question. What the fuck is this? I love your name, first of all. I hope you trademark.
Yeah, love that name. What the fuck?
He says, what is a standard you change as you got older, or have they stayed the same as standards from your 20s? Excellent question. Tia Marie, do you want to go ahead and answer that?
Ooh, so I became a mom in my 20s, so my standards changed right around that time. To be honest. But yes, I do think that they evolve. In terms of what you want, who you're becoming, absolutely they've changed. And they should. And guess what? They could still change even after that. Nothing about you should stay stagnant. But that takes whatever the input is going to determine what the output is, like what you determine your standards to be. So if you're spending those years in your 20s, your 30s, not really developing yourself, then your standards are going to seem very stagnant. But hopefully they're evolving as you are evolving. But they are definitely required.
So you're saying it's required to change your standards? Is that what you're saying?
It's required to have them, continue to evolve and develop yourself so that those standards evolve. But there's not an option to not have a standard.
See, I didn't have a standard. Like I thought looking back, like I said, I don't know what I was doing. Okay. I was just completely in a mirage, right? I don't know what was happening. So my standards definitely.
Well, we talked a little bit about it. So can we go sidebar and just bring up something that we talked about yesterday, which I think is why many of us don't either have a standard or don't know. We were talking, and just for some of you all, please continue with your, thank you all for being on here and continue to put your questions and your comments in the chat for others to see and for us to respond to, and of course, subscribe. But what I want to say is we talked about why that is in the first place and what component might be missing as a young person. And you asked me the question, what did my father teach me when I was at that age? And my father actually taught me get a good education, taught me to all kinds of things like how to build things, how to fix things on the car, how to manage money, how to run a business. And we talked about why our fathers might have taught us that.
See, derailing. We go.
So I just want to say that there are some components and some reasons for why maybe those standards might be missing. And I don't maybe we'll go through all the topics and then we'll talk about some of those side things that we mentioned before and why that is.
See, we need to get to 125 likes for that, because fathers directing daughters in one direction. Now you have the manosphere saying your education and all that don't even matter, but when your dad was directing you to get an education, I don't want to use the word independent. I never like that, but in terms of being able to be self-efficient and take care of yourself as an adult, that was pushed way more than go get married. No father told their daughter, definitely probably not in the 70s. I would say no, but the majority of fathers, I'm sure, probably did not tell their daughters in the 70s, 80s to go get married. It was go get an education. So we can definitely talk about that at another time. But yes, I think that's really, really important. Oh, now what the funk is this?
What the funk? You're gonna have to
freestyling relationships.
Elaborate a little bit on that one, because
in my 20s, yes, I was freestyling relationships in my 20s.
So can what the funk this, because not everybody knows these terms. So without being obscene, please explain your version of freestyling when you talk about that as a relationship.
Because we're middle age. What the funk? This to remind you, like, some of us do not know what that means. Okay, he's going. All right. So when we get people to come on, we will definitely drop the link so you can definitely come up. It's no problem. I appreciate that. What the funk also said, thinking about the Jeezy, also not an interest of mine. But what if that is something the person you are getting to know? Yep. Do you shut the door away to preference? That's a great.
And that actually came from Debbie Arnold.
Oh, Debbie. I'm sorry, Debbie. Debbie
Thanks
Arnold.
for joining us, Debbie.
Debbie, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I thought that came from the Debbie Arnold said, thinking about the Jeezy, which I'm saying I ain't going to no Jeezy concert. She says, also not an interest of mine, but what if that is something that the person you're getting to know? Do you shut the door or away the preference? Excellent question. Tia Marie, what do you say?
I would personally politely say, I think that's great that is your preference or your interest. My interests are in this other area. For example, I might say, well, I really prefer Maxwell. Can we do that together? Maybe you enjoy the Jeezy concert with your buddy or a family member or cousin. I'm not saying that it cannot be your preference, but if it's something that we're going to do together, it does matter if we're both enjoying ourselves at that particular activity. And if that's not your jam, I'm not going to say it's a deal closer. It's just, can you articulate in a mature way that, hey, maybe go to that one and, enjoy that with your friend or your cousin or what have you. And for me, though, my preference might be a Maxwell concert, and see if that's something you all can do together.
I agree. I'm going to be a little stickler on this, though. If I'm dating, I'm going to say a 60-year-old man and he want to go to a Jeezy concert.
Well, see, we didn't say an age. We didn't have the details
I'm
of
40.
age.
I'm in my 40s. Okay, so if I'm dating anybody, okay, let's say this. I'm dating somebody 47, 48, 45. I don't date that young. So that's just me. But let's just say, right, 47, yes, because I know that he's still like Jeezy. Yeah. So I will be like you and acquiesce to it. But I will acquiesce, but it will not be something I will be interested in. To answer your question, Debbie, I will say definitely, only depending though, if it meets your standards. Now, because if you're not, so my standard is, let's just say I like my lifestyle. I like things to be a certain way. I like moving around a certain way. All that is good. And then he just happened to like Jeezy. Cool. But if I got to lower some standards already and I'm kind of already acquiescing some things I don't like, I got to weigh this out, because now it's kind of going downhill at this point. So I got to really see exactly how our energies match, Taylor. See how our standards aligned. to make sure I'm not going too far down. That's really important. And that's also to talk about too when you're meeting someone. I pose this very much. You should ask over 250 questions before you engage in any sexual activity. That could be a tip too.
And
as well.
really, maybe even any future
More.
dates,
The
because
minimum.
yeah, even some of the
Minimum
future
questions.
dates.
Minimum
Yeah.
questions. You need to ask at least between 150 and 200 questions minimum before you even engage in any sexual activity with anyone. I didn't put that on there because, Tia Marie said we got to be PG. Fine. So, now What the Funk did say this though. Okay, I got this correct. 47 want to take you to a Young Thug concert. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, but What the Funk is this? I have a friend. I'm not gonna call his name out. I call him 50-20 because he's like 54-ish, but he dressed like a 20-year-old. We call him OG. Told me this. OG Gwen. She told me we call them 50-20s because they older, but they dress and act young. I don't want. I'll take the old dude in the suit in I'm good. The brim hat. Yes, that's where I'm at. But however, if you're dating someone who likes a Jeezy concert, figure out is your standards, where is that at? Like, does that meet your standards? For me, I'm going with the no. But Debbie, so hopefully that answers your question. So, Tia, Tia Marie, what are your standards? So what are some of your standards?
Oh yeah, thank you. What the Funk? Did you put up What the Funk's statement? It's actually really good.
Yes.
So again, I'm not releasing any of my standards or my inside scoop until I reach 100 subscribers. But what I will say is, I know. What I will say is that again, just re-emphasizing that standards are necessary. As you mature, as you develop, your standards should as well. So no one's standard should be stagnant. And the level that you happen to be at, you do want to find someone who is at your same caliber. It is going to be extremely uncomfortable for you to be in a completely different caliber than the person that you were with. And so I think when Taylor was saying like somebody to match your grind, like it would I would find it difficult. Energies. There's an aura about the way you carry yourself and where you carry yourself. And so if that person doesn't really see that or understand that about you, it would be shocking for me if someone were to say, "Hey, Tia Marie, let's go to a Young Jeezy concert," because there's nothing about my presence that would suggest that that would be of interest to me.
I remember I couldn't get you in the city. I said, "Who?" So that's too funny, right? But that was a standard, and right. So, and I also, and I want to really equate this to women. I'm speaking to the ladies. One of the interesting things that I put on here is no sleepovers. One of my standards is no sleeping over a man's house. No living with a man unless we are married. Now, if you're going to go with I'm engaged, you got the ring, the date is set, and you want to start preparing and moving at that point, yes. Some people will say, well, I want to know how that person lived. And I'm sticking to what I'm saying. We work that out. If you're a dirty freak, then we have to have a maid come in twice a week if that's the case, or some, it depends on how you're working this, but no sleepover. So one of my standards is no sleeping over a man's house. Now, some men have a problem with that.
Well, let's give the full gambit of why that comes about and where
I just want to say
that.
this.
Mm-hmm.
What the funk is this? I love your name. He said, this is very true. I passed the book of questions to see how many people think. Neely Fuller Jr. speaks about these questions you need to ask before sexual activities. This is exactly where I got it from. Neely Fuller I'm a student of Neely Fuller. I'm still learning, says about sexual intercourse. So like really asking questions, because I can start off with maybe like let's say 5 questions. Each of those 5 questions are gonna probably have about 10 other, things you can add on to it, because you got constantly asking questions. So I'm a strong proponent of asking questions before you have any type of sexual intercourse. What the Funk also said, shaking my head, you love Erykah Badu. Actually, I'm not a big Erykah Badu fan, believe it or not. I've never really been into Erykah Badu. People think, oh, you love poetry. I really don't. You love that energy term. No, my niece said energy term, not me. I'm against it. What the fuck is this? No, energy feels so darn good. To me, it keeps me just want to calm down. Got me spinning all around. He's singing the song of Erykah Badu. If I can sing,
okay.
I would sing it. So no, I that's why I didn't want to touch on the energy thing, but a lot of people really go off of the energy. I'm against it. Okay. Because you can develop energy with anybody, actually. But with the Funk, he said I'm Erykah Badu. I mean, I like her. I get that all the time, but no, actually, I don't even. That's really not me, but okay. But so one of my standards is, no sleeping over and things like that. So ladies, if you're dating over 40, you really truly need to know your standards. Now, when you're younger, you get a little grace, just a little, but now you really got to sit down and really think about what is it that you want and don't want. And for me, it came upon what was I doing wrong prior? And that's how I came with my standards. So if anybody want to know how do you get to those standards, also I'm very fortunate. I call it Annie Up. Some people refer it to level up, but my mom told me all this. Now, whether I refused to believe it at that time, I'm all doing what Mama told me. Okay. So, ladies, if you sleeping, my mom said my dad was dating and he played like he was asleep, right? He sleep in the bed or whatever. And she said, it's time to go. She's trying to wake him up, and she said he gonna play sleep. And she ain't say nothing. She got on that phone and called a cab. And she said he woke up then like, oh no, I'm up. So you got to be ready for this, because men play games. Like, she ended up marrying him, but this is how it works. So you got to have standards instead of her just acquiescing to it. Because a lot of us women are insecure. We're not confident enough to set standards for ourselves because we want to be loved. We want to be in a relationship. We want to be a part of the feeling of belonging. Because everybody wants to feel belonged, right? A part of something, a part of someone who wants to belong to you. Like every woman wants a man to say she belongs to me. If you're a woman that don't want that, okay, I'm not speaking for you, but most women I know want a man to say you belong to me. And the man wants to feel belonged when he gets home and you guys hook up. However you work it out. So you got to know your standards. You got to know what you don't stand for, and you have to have confidence. You got to. There's no other way around that. So anything you want to add to our number 3? Because we got to go to number 4.
No.
Anything you want to add on to that?
No. Go ahead.
Okay. So number 4 is maintenance. And how can you maintain your self-care? So now we know what kind of relationship we want, right? We dedicating the time. You know what your standards are. You operated in your proper femininity, ladies. How are you going to maintain all of this? What do you do? What does that look like for you in the relationship? Whether it's pre-dating, married, and dating. So all of these steps, like you said, continuing through. How are you going to maintain your femininity, yourself, your saneness? What was it that he attracted him to you prior? Like, how are you going to maintain that?
And really, how do you maintain it even for yourself? Like I said, a big part of the relationship and how you function in it is how good you feel about yourself and how good you feel about, the way you show up in the world. So that maintenance, if you will, or self-care, or I call it lady maintenance, is really important for just your own mental. And I do believe that he will appreciate it. I believe that he will celebrate it and honor you in that process. I think that's how we teach men how to take care of us, because of the way they see us take care of ourselves.
Dead on. I agree 100%. And that comes, it can go back to your father too, because, hopefully, if we're fortunate enough to have had an active, present, productive, and protective provider father, all of the
Hmm.
above, right? To actually show you what it's like to be cared for and belong to someone. Because that's what I knew. I knew I belonged to these two people. I knew it,
This,
right? And I knew that I was taken care of. So, like you said, so I developed that, what, towards the end, whatever. But women can learn how to self-care through how we were taught from our fathers too, because we
mhm.
don't know when a man sees that. Oh, I'll give it a good example. Like a man can meet a woman and you could tell that she come from money. You could tell what she wears. It's not like some women, just got one Louis Vuitton purse. No, you could tell, she comes from wealth. You're going to treat her accordingly.
Or keep moving.
Well, if you right, well, let's just say you can deal. You are
Oh,
eligible.
okay. This is those who can deal. Okay.
Yeah, or keep moving. I mean, you're absolutely correct, because if you present yourself a certain way, a guy is going to determine I can afford her or I cannot afford her. So if,
So
you're
in
going
the,
outside with a bonnet on and some house shoes and some red wig, I don't know. You're going to get whatever. Or am I
so
wrong?
no, you're right. In the chat, we have a question from Taylor to
Yes.
address. What about the ladies that didn't have that? I'm guessing she means that male presence,
Hmm.
that support and that validation and the reinforcement of that validation. So I'll speak a little bit on that. One is, well, first of all, thank you for the question, because I'm sure there are other ladies that are in the chat with us that are experiencing something similar. One thing I will say is definitely there's a gap that's there if that doesn't happen or that doesn't exist. And hopefully there are other avenues in which, knowing that there's a gap, that you can still garner that kind of relationship so that you know who you are. You feel as if you are tethered to your family or even your friend circle, because not everyone is even blessed to have family. That's not necessarily a given. And so that's why so much of this work, whether you started out with it or not, as an adult, is a requirement that you do some of that development yourself, to find where those foundations are, so that when you meet a partner, your validation is not from that partner. And that is very difficult even for women who have grown up with their fathers or grown up with their male, with a strong male presence in their household. All of these things that we're talking about require so much. It's really a delicate balance. None of this is a given, but none of this is outside of the scope of being reached if we start to do some self development. I'll never forget my best friend gave me a book that I often talk about because it was just so powerful, mostly because of the age that we were at, that she gave it to me, because these were the kind of conversations that she and I were having. And I was 11 years old. We were in like fifth grade, and there was so much, like, I guess now they would call it cattiness and sort of like cliques that were going on. And she gave me a book that was like how to remove toxic people from your life when I was like 11 years old. That was like my first self help book. And reading that actually helped me for where there were other places in my life that maybe had a gap. So none of this is, you're not ruined, you're not, it's not over for you, if you didn't necessarily have those presence of men in your life. But that means that your journey is just, there's a few more steps added to your journey, is how I would like to look at it. It's not impossible. You can start at any time. You can start exactly where you are right now to start to develop who you are, what does validate you, before you are ready to move into a relationship, if you already recognize that those gaps exist. And then I've been able to get a lot from even my sisterhood. Um, I realized just how much love was really actually around me, that I did not have to seek love in other places, or maybe what people say in the wrong places, because I had so much love. Even love I didn't recognize around me. But it just means you have a few more steps. It's not impossible.
I think that's absolutely wonderful, because you're right, Taylor. You have a lot of women and men who do not grow up with a father, and sometimes even if a father was in a home, it wasn't positive either. So there are a lot of factors to that, and being able, and in fact, Taylor, you had said something the other day about making sure you have mentorships. Your mom mentioned, like hopefully, and I'm sure your energies will match up and get you now this is where energies I do believe in with like close friends and stuff, right? Like your girlfriends, who really do have your back, people around you, other family members that can guide you. Because even though you have those parents in the home, a lot of times the child don't listen to them parents. Like, you kind of like, I can say this about you all. Your mom can say one thing, but you guys ain't listening because mama said it. I was the same way. Oh, mom, you old and da, da, da. But if somebody else said it, you may take a little bit more heed to it because you may respect that person in a different way. You look at that person in a different way. Mama and daddy always trying to tell you what to do. You're right. You want to be independent, right? So, even if you do have parents at home, sometimes the kids don't listen to them. But if you don't, always, no matter what, make sure you have those outside sources of people who love and care for you, and your intuition to tell you if those people care for you, because people do have people who don't care for them, but the signs are there. If you choose to ignore them, that's on you. But good people when they love you, because your intuition is going to tell you. So hopefully that helps a little bit, Taylor Banks, and I really appreciate your chat here. We also have one for okay, so we have from Charles. He says, yes, how a woman dress and keep themselves is a factor. I agree. But it still comes down to mutual respect for each other in that relationship. Absolutely, because she could be dressed like a nun or a librarian, right? And she just, just don't have no respect for you or anything. So absolutely, he's absolutely correct. Or you can have like a scandalous dressed woman who really respects you and honor you. So he's absolutely
Well,
correct.
we have to have a whole show on
Scandalous dressed.
what that looks like, because you said scandalous. I'm sure that there are folks that are going to have questions about what that means or what that looks like.
I wonder now, Charles, is the factor, is it initially meeting or seeing that person? Is that a factor? What if they dress very conservative out in the public, but at home they like to dress very scandalous? Like, is that okay? Like, that's a good question. You can just put in the chat yes or no, Charles. Thank you. I'm just curious to know, because guys say that, but they all like, we want a lady in the street, but you know what?
In the
You know
sheets.
what? Yeah. Well, you said they keep it PG, so I don't know how to kind of how to mince that, but I got
Mm,
it PG per the host here. It's not me. I would say it, but so like, how would that work? So that was a great question. So making sure you have so I don't even know what number. We're on number 4, maintenance and self care. So maintaining what we did to get the man, we have to keep him. But we also have to stay sane. Like, even men, like, they have man caves, they go out with the fellas, or they might go fishing. Like, that could be their thing to get away. Some men, when they get straight home from work, they might want to go and have a cigar, right? Or, and a cigar and a bourbon. That could be their de-stressor. Not saying the woman is stressing them, but everybody need their own me time. They go play basketball, go do something with the fellas. Everybody needs their own me time, and ladies do too. So you got to maintain your self-care, whatever that is. Mine's is different. So, I like, give me a trip. And so, I'll just give me a trip. So, okay, yes, ma'am. So we're going to go over to, our last. Now, this one here, I really need the fellas to chime in on that for me. Now, Charles, thank you for replying to me. We have Charles says, yes. How a woman dress. Oh, I'm sorry, Charles. Read this up. Well, some women are high maintenance, but can also have crappy attitudes. I don't know if this is the going thing, And I'm sorry if my Wi-Fi is not going too well, but if you guys can see me, I hope it's okay. I don't know if this is the going thing here where women could be, very beautiful on the outside, very attractive, pleasing to the eye for a man, but the insides might be a little shaky there. I don't know if that is common for women. I would love to hear men's opinion on that because I do not date women. I don't know what their attitude is like, but I also have heard this on plenty of times that women attitudes are very shaky. I was just reading Charles Alexander comment to Marie. He says, "Well, some women are high maintenance, but can also have crappy attitudes." He's absolutely
And that's why I
correct.
said there's an aura when you're ready to date. There's a delight in it. It should be fun for you.
Yeah,
If
like don't be
if you're not if
I
you're
don't like
so
this restaurant.
rigid or so
I'm like, well,
um
you can
so,
go.
and it's okay to say tonight's not a good date night. It's
Yeah,
okay to say that.
I've been in a situation like, you know what? I'm in my head. I'm not 100%. I'm gonna let you know up front. So and that
It's okay
kind
to
of
say
gives
no.
the guy, he can say, well, what's wrong? And then by the time we done talked about it, he done took my mind off of it. And now we're on to a great date night. But you, as a woman, ladies, that could be on the topic, you have to be open. If you're not fun and pleasurable naturally, you don't need to date. You are a pain to be around. Your energy is negative. We don't want that. Don't give the men that because now it's making it bad for women like me and Tia Marie who are pleasant all the time, who are happy and enjoy being taken care of and being treated like a lady as we are. And we love that. So, ladies, if you just got a funky attitude, I think some of them do because we have some people logged off. So if you have a funky attitude, don't date. Okay.
Yeah, you're not ready
Yeah,
to
that's
date
not
yet.
good. No.
It's okay. It's okay. I feel where you're coming from, but
But don't date.
the dating that's just where some of those so I'll get into it when we get into the subtopics about what that attitude and how to maintain that. What does that look like? Because we can say it, but I think it'll be helpful if we kind of talked about what that is.
Yeah. I don't know if Stacy is still watching, but Charles Alexander says, I work for a few women bosses who were like that. There's this one lady, well, not the white one, not the crazy lady, but there was a black lady. She was really cool, but her attitude was so funky. I knew that it had nothing to do with us. She was just in a bad place in her life. And she was just so funky.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately she was married. That was a huge number of reason why she was funky. And Stacy would know who we're talking about. She used to keep in contact with her because she was like Stacy. Everybody loves Stacy, right? So even the funkiest of
I
funky
love
people gonna love
Stacy.
Stacy. It's not, so I do want to say thank you for everybody for joining us. We are here. This is our episode 1 or 2. Is this episode 1 or 2?
This is kind of like 1.0, 1.5.
Okay.
Because we kind of started about a week ago, and we'll continue to go. And guys, we are still navigating this, so we do appreciate the people who are viewing. We appreciate your questions. I hope that this conversation is enlightening. And I again want to thank my producer, Raw Asset in the house, for not just on this camera, like that's what I said, she got skills on the camera and off camera, doing all this production work. So thank you.
Thank you.
So did we do number 5 yet?
No, so number 5, yeah, I wanted to see if you wanted to drop anything. I also, you have your information here. Because you do a lot of work too, right? You do a lot of work. And if anybody wants to reach you, you do speaking engagements. I'm not going to do Blacktivist on you. I'm not going to do that for you because.
Well, I was actually named Blacktivist.
I know,
lovingly
I love
and
it.
endearingly by my very good friend J. Marks. So Dr. J. Marks.
So I don't know if I have the right to call you that, but you do a lot. So if you want to let the people know how to reach you, what do you do? What do you
Yes.
offer?
So, first of all, we also have some other shows that are coming up. So I'm hoping that you all will join us for those other shows. Actually, I'll take my glasses off. So I can't see you guys, and so I apologize. I'm trying not to have my glasses on camera. I'm not a contact lady, so I have to go back and forth. But we have some other shows that will be happening. Saturday morning, we're going to get into a little bit more of our civic duty. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about bills that are coming up that we need to be aware of. This is the space where we are going to examine what our role is as citizens and how we connect with each other in our community. We're also going to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. This past week, we were able to participate with CEO, Community Equity Organization, and rally around a few other civic groups who were able to show up. I'm going to guess about 600 strong at the most recent Farmington Hills. So I'll kind of do a little bit of a play-by-play of how that went and where we go from here, and how to get engaged in that way. And then on Sundays, that's family day. So we're going to talk about couples, and we're going to talk about just what's important to families, and what resources we can use to support families as well. So bring the kids. It's a great time for them to get involved and to be engaged. We also, on Friday nights, that's like almost like an after dark kind of night. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm ready to go past PG. We might have to come off Facebook to go past PG, you guys. But I am hoping that on Friday nights we can do a little bit of real talk. And address some of these relationship issues, whether you're in one or about to be in one, just got out of one, need to get out of one. Um, so we're literally like going to throw you a rope. But I also want to just make sure. So tonight was really for our ladies, our single ladies. I'm so glad for you guys to join us. We have a lot of conversations off camera. And I just hope that tonight, because you all have asked me questions, that I'm able to actually bring your questions to the forefront. So if you recognize some of your questions, that's because I'm listening. I won't say your name unless you give me permission to, but I will make sure that we try to address that, because if you've got the question, other people do as well. The other thing that I want to do is just thank our gentlemen for joining the conversation tonight, and our ladies, our young people, and our seasoned people. I want to again thank my producer. So this is going to be where we actually close the main part of the show. And you'll see in the chat and on my Facebook where you can get in touch with me. The number for reaching me is 248-325-8093. And my Cash App is also on there. I thank you all for joining Kindred Souls with Tia Marie at Gmail. It's another way you can get in touch with me. If you do make a donation, I really do appreciate it. It does help with production and also marketing. So I can reach more people. And I do ask if you all can share. Please subscribe. Like I said, when I get to 100 subscribers, I'm going to start telling a whole lot of stuff. And so if you will help me get to 100 subscribers by the time we have our next show, and I want more than 100, but by the time we get to our next show next week, if I have 100 subscribers, I will start to share a few intimate details. So after my little plug right here, if you also are interested in having us have your commercial featured on this channel, I would love to work with you and to collaborate with you. If you are an influencer, please get at me, because I am in the process of hiring influencers to give me a little help. And definitely give me your questions. All right, so that's my plug. We're going to get to the next part.
All right, that's your plug. Woohoo! So we did have you have a lot of plugs.
That was a lot. I know.
Which is great, though, right? So we do have a link in the chat if you're interested in joining. I am going to post it on YouTube. I'll get over there. Now we do have something from Kelly B. She said, "Thank you, ladies." No, thank you, Kelly. We really appreciate you for being here and taking time out of your day to even be a part of us. Like, it's a pleasure. And also Reginald Austin, likewise, thank you.
Oh, Reginald, welcome.
Thank you, welcome. So he says it's a great show, and you know what, Thank you. Because if anybody worked for Tia Marie, you know what I'm talking about. Nah, she good. No, you are play. You always keep people on their toes, because like, you don't want someone that if I can't grow with you, if I'm stagnant with you, and you don't tell me I'm doing something wrong or you don't like it, it's that energy, Taylor. It just ain't gonna work, right? So it's just not gonna work. So I say that in all love, because that's what I need personally, right? Because I don't want to just be a loser. And thank you very much to Charles Alexander again. Thank you for being a part of the chat.
Can everybody put, if you feel comfortable, put in the chat just the state that you are chatting from. I want to see how far we're reaching out to.
Okay.
I'm really curious.
I'm on Mars.
And then the other thing I want to ask, if you feel comfortable, is there a question that you would like for us to address, for ladies or for gentlemen? One of those moments where you're just like, I don't understand why men do X, or I don't understand why women do Y. And put it in the chat and we will try to answer that for you. I'm going to spice it up a little bit.
I like that. I like that a lot, because a lot of people have a lot of questions that I would never even think about, right? And you had a question from someone last week. I forgot what it was. Oh, okay. So we have the DMV, Maryland. Woohoo! Now that is one of my home away from homes, is the Maryland area. I have family in there also at Aldenton. I think that's the name. It's like a Navy community at the time. Aldenton, yes. Oh, you didn't get a chance to go with us at Tri-Poly Reunion 2017.
No, I didn't.
But you did go to the Poconos with us.
That was so much fun.
That was a lot of fun.
We'll have to do a travel show. Taylor is actually in the travel industry. And we will have to do a travel show where Taylor can maybe talk to some of our friends on this channel about where they can, put together their next trip. She's got a lot of great information. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry.
All right. I hear myself. Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's okay.
Difficulties.
All right, Stacey, let's see. Where are you chatting from?
Stacey did not put her. She said, "Thank you, ladies, and I look forward to the next show." Well, Stacey, we have something coming up that's really special, and it's not just for single ladies too. That's just this particular show, because we talked about last week where if you're in a marriage, Tia said how to get the marriage back, how to stay married, like how to do your thing, and you came up with some great things. So it's not just about the single women like myself. And congratulations to you as well, Stacey. Soon I'll get mine. So if you support the channel, I get to have like that machine where I can do like the sounds and the hearts and stuff. We can get real lavish over here. Okay, so you can always support the channel for things like that. So we have Reginald Austin. He said he's in Michigan. Well,
Michigan, yeah.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Charles, in the DMV.
I always say this Michigan.
We have Taylor
I live right here. Right here.
Yeah. Right here.
So thank you very much for having us. So now, just really quickly, my last and final tip. Okay. And I always feel like these aren't really tips, but I think this is the most important. This one kind of hurt my heart, y'all. This tip, this one right here. A man actually said this. He said this, and when he said it, the light bulb just switched off. And I said, this is it. And this is it, ladies. What type of man do you qualify for? So we want this particular person, whatever it is that you want him to, okay, so first you figure I want a marriage. I said my first tip is figure out what kind of relationship you want. I want a marriage, right? I want that. Now I'm putting in the time, right? I'm doing all of this. Then number 3, I am I have my standards, so I know I'm not going to date this way, or I'm not going to sleep over here and do all of this. I got that together. And then my standards, right? I'm doing all of this. My self-care, making sure I'm good. I'm doing all of this. Mm-hmm. Do that man want me? And I really had to think about it. And I looked at it like this. Let's just say I'm working all the time. Let's say I'm overweight. Let's say I'm got red hair. My eyelashes look like this. My fingernails are. What do I have that? It needs to be looking. I mean, these. I'm
Oh,
so
wait, your
sorry.
camera went
Yeah,
down.
the fingernails is just so long. But this is who you are, right? You wake up in the morning. You may not get yourself together. You don't look presentable. You don't have any stockings. You don't own not one pair of stockings. You don't own not one pair of a nice pair of pumps, a nightgown. Someone don't even wear nightgowns. A after 5 dress. Because I equate this to the man too. Like what 50-20. He don't have a suit. He don't own a suit. Let alone dress shoes.
Yeah.
Or dress socks. Cufflinks. Like I like that. That's me. So I'm equating it back to a woman though. As a woman, that's the kind of man I want. I want him to have a suit in his closet. I want him to be able to have a presence. They don't even got to talk. He's masculine. He's strong. He's confident. He's a provider, protector. My father, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't got to ask. I don't have to say nothing's done. I always equate this. If Stacy listening, I always say this. One day we were going out of town and we were in the van in Alabama. And the car needed an engine or something was wrong with the car. And my daddy driving, you know, when it was starting to cut off and it's pouring down raining. I said, what if my daddy, you know, he's trying to maneuver the car and make sure we get safe. What if my daddy looked over to my mom and said, Doris, what we gonna do? You got men who would do that to a woman. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they don't know what to do. They're so used to a woman being in charge, maybe because they didn't have a father. So I want a man that knows how to do all of that. So this man that I want, do I qualify for him? That's how we came to this.
So,
and before you start, Charles says, I love to get the questions in because I love that they.
Yeah,
Stacy is calling. Before Charles, I'm so sorry. Stacy says she's from West Bloomfield, Michigan. So we have some Michigan, we got some DMV in here. I appreciate that. Now, what the fuck must have left, but I'm gonna get on you if you catch this. But so Charles Alexander says, what if you match the energy? Here we go with that energy word, Charles. Okay, what if you match the energy, but the other partner realize they don't like it? Like the song, What If a Woman Just Like You? What if a woman just like you? So, yeah, that's why I don't go with energy.
I don't know what that song is.
I don't either, but I know what his point is saying. Like, so the energy stuff match, but it's just not materializing. I could be wrong. Let me know if am I right or wrong in this, Charles. But that's why I don't use the word energy because I've had the best connections. Like that energy was, it's like a drug.
It's like a drug. Oh my God. It's like, I gotta have it.
But guess what? It did not materialize, right? So if you want to answer Charles' thing, he said again, what if your energy matches, but the other partner realized they don't like it, right? You know, like, and that's true too. I've been there as well.
Well, hopefully, again, we're all grown. I'm hoping that's a conversation because if too much, if too much emphasis is put on the energy, like you said, it may not. It cannot just be that because energy wanes, right? And so the more sustainable, tangible things I think are, you know, that we have the conversations to talk about what those future goals are that are the same or that are at least on the same page or the same path, and that at every step of the way, both of us are enjoying what this experience is. And that's why when I talked last week about just having those regular check-ins, making time for that, I think that's the way you kind of get past the energy. The energy is great in the beginning. There's all this, sparks flying. Um, but I know there's like, you're just like, oh
I
my
love
gosh. And
it.
this,
Give it to me.
oh,
Give me,
the
I
way
want
he
more.
smells and the
Give
way
it to
he
me.
looks
Oh, I
and
love
all
you.
that stuff. Yes. But then there's like the day after. And now you have to be more
Your
realistic,
standards.
and you have to start looking at what your standards are, and are is this person or you capable of what the each other's standards are. And that just requires a mature conversation. And if it isn't, and that's the other thing, and I want to go back. So for anybody that's in a relationship that it isn't working, and you like, we're throwing you a lifeline right now, and you need to like get out of that relationship, I would say, and all of the relationships I ever got out of were not tumultuous, except for my divorce, maybe. But other relationships, I was mature. I tried to have real conversations about what I wanted, what I wasn't feeling like was capable within the relationship, and amicably moved away from that relationship so that I would stay whole, they could stay whole. I didn't have to tear anybody down, so that I would walk away from that situation, not with bitterness, not with negativity, not feeling broken, but in a space where I could go and sort of look at what my next opportunity was going to be, that I was walking into something else whole. And so we have to be really careful that we're not in something so long that it does tear us down, that we're being mature and coming and having conversations, so that when it is something that we find out, hey, it's just not clicking, it's just not working out, that we don't have to tear each other down. One of the things that is so harmful just for human beings, period, but particularly in the Black community, is that we don't seem to know how to get our relationships in a mature way. We tear each other down, we destroy property, we,
That's me. That's me. I'm
that's
busting out
you.
the windows, all that.
you yeah, we're slashing
What's that?
tires.
What's her
This
name?
this
I
is
bust
not a
your windows
Beyonce.
out
This
your
is
car.
not no. This is not a Beyonce song, y'all. Okay, like
Lemonade.
the
Yep.
best thing that you can do,
Play with
and
me
I'm
if you
I'm, I'm
want
going to
to.
speak to a woman, not going to speak for the men, but the
Play
most
with
mature
me if
thing you
you
can
want
do
to.
is leave a relationship with your head held high. Leave it knowing that you did not fracture or damage the other person,
Oh, you
and you
mean
don't
no?
allow them to
I'm
fracture or
mad.
damage you.
I'm mad. I'm mad.
But then that means you stay too long. That means you should be mad at yourself because you stayed
I
too
didn't have no
long.
standards.
You
Because if
stayed
you
too
didn't
long.
meet my standards, I would have left one standard to go, one negative standard to go, right? Because that's my
So
point.
who
You
are
gotta
you
have a
actually
standard.
angry with? Then that means you're
Myself,
angry with yourself. Yes, not with the other
I'm taking it
person.
out on you.
Exactly.
And
That's
that's what
right.
happens.
Hmm.
Because like, and that also, and I'm being really funny and facetious with this. I'm not violent, but I really want to bring this what you're saying, that we're not. And I'll say this, intellectually mature enough to have these conversations. That's why I say ask these questions prior to we get into these sexual relationships, because we're so wrapped up in our energy matching, we
And I'm
lose
gonna.
sight of logic. Because now if I know what kind of relationship I want, I know what standards I'm looking for. I know how I'm going to treat you. And if we're not on the same pathway, this is what leads to all of this. Because now we're in friction, because we're both not flowing the same way that we were when we was just hooking up. Now I want more and you want less, or he want more and you want less. So this is why I'm saying, like, you have to have those standards. And I think that's very, very important. And so you get the guy that you want. Everything is great. I go back again. Do you qualify for him? Are you ready for that man? And a lot of women are not. We're looking for the knight in shining armor, but okay, what does that look like? Okay, are you ready for
Well, that's
him?
what I said. All of those things have to be thrown out. There's one aspect, and most people, I have to say it
Well,
in
it goes
such a
to
way
your
that they'll recognize it. It's even beyond. It's your standards, but it's even beyond that. It is. Are you? So most people assume that the relationship is sort of some way to complete them. It's going to make them happy. This
Yeah, you can't
person's
do
gonna
that.
like
Yeah,
love them,
can't do none of
to
that.
like all these layers of just like they're gonna solve everything because this person's in your life. When people come together, the real purpose, and like I said before, us coming together should be better, but it should be better for what is in our development, right? That person is going to rub up against you because you are rough edges and they have rough edges. But the more you all rub up against each other, not in the sense of like the physical sense, but the more that there's sensibilities about you and sensibilities about them that come and sort of smooth each other out. You start to straighten each other's
Hmm.
roles and crown, because you are never forgetting that it is not about that fleeting moment of an argument. It's not about that fleeting moment of disappointment. We should not have ever, in the first place, had so many expectations about a perfected person. That's not a real. That's not a real experience. It is understanding that before you can point the finger at that other person about what you think they did right or wrong, you have to look at yourself first. You have to be accountable for your role in how things got that way. And so when we think about what we are ready for, it is, am I ready for that person to be a mirror and reflect back at me all of my behaviors? Am I ready to be accountable for my actions as well as what I'm responsible for? Am I ready to have someone to not just see me on the surface, but to see me so good they almost see through me? Am I
That's
ready
what
to
you
be
want.
under? Well, that's what relationships tend to be, because here's what I will tell you.
Don't be
Look
looking
at
through
what,
me now.
look.
Hey, hold up now. Wait a second. I'm sorry. Yes, continue.
But the relationship is supposed to be the thing that holds you accountable to who you are as a human being. How do you show up in the world? If you want somebody that's just going to let you do whatever, you act any kind of way, they don't think about how you show up in the world, that's probably not a person that's looking out for you. If you don't have any standards for the person that you're with, you don't really care how they show up in the world, that's probably not a person that really cares about you either. And so you should be looking at, when I'm ready to be in a partnership, what is my relationship to understanding who I am, understanding my faults, understanding I come flawed, understanding that person is going to have flaws. And am I mature enough to have the conversation so we can work ourselves through that together? Those are the types of things that are the glue to keeping that relationship not only solid, but continuing to evolve. I think one of the groups, the questions that we answered last week was like, what if you want to be out and active and the other person doesn't want to? I don't know how you got there without having a conversation about that. And also making sure that the other person doesn't get ahead of you in terms of where their development is, because you're staying back here not thinking about how you can continue to develop yourself. The other thing is that one of the lessons that I learned very early on with actually through my pastor was when he said there's a time when you have to pray for the other person. And I didn't know what that meant at first, but I think it was like take the focus off of what you're picking away at as negative, take the focus off of all of those things, get back centered to where you know you are and where you know your relationship can be, and that you made a vow or you made a commitment in that relationship to do the work. Not all that work is cute. Not all that work is, always that I feel the best, but that work should always be that we together want this to be better. We together want this to be better. If that is one sided, it's probably going to stay one sided. That has to always look. So, my sister and my brother-in-law, I won't say their names, but they do something that I think is really cute. When they might be arguing, he will say something like, he'll say her name and he'll be like, "Shut up," just to break up that they're having an argument. To remember that they are both, maybe saying the same thing, maybe both feeling the same way, but just the tensions have gotten out of control and gotten ahead of them. And at the end of the day, they remind each other that they are part of a team, that they are part of a unit that is only as good as they put in the work to make it good. So I do want to at least acknowledge that. And for those of you that are in wonderful marriages, please lend your advice to this chat. Um, I don't want it to
Please.
just be us
I
talking. If
think
there's
that's
any
extremely needed.
drops
Absolutely.
drops of wisdom. Hopefully, married couples are mentoring new couples.
Extremely
Hopefully,
important.
yes. My pastor and his wife often say that until you hit like the 10-year mark, then the 20-year mark, there are levels to your ability to mentor.
Okay.
And so,
Okay.
if there are other couples that you
I will
believe,
love that. I
yes,
will.
that you believe that you could pour into, please do
I
so.
got lots of questions.
And tell couples the truth. Tell them the truth.
You think?
Tell a new
Well,
couple.
I'm sorry, not to break you up. I definitely want to acknowledge Charles Alexander. His comment absolutely correct. He said the match energy could be a double-edged sword. That's been my experience, Charles. Honestly, Hollywood couples break up all of the time. Like I am that Hollywood couple, minus the money, because I have met people where we have, I mean, our energies. They call them like soulmates or soul ties, and all of. It's another show. And also I want to say to Stacy Braswell, she says, I'm here and it was part of the journey. I would love to hear for you don't have to come up, Stacy, but anytime you just want on and talk about your journey. Stacy is I'm gonna say Stacy is a huge part of my Annie Up process.
Mine too.
Because she told me all the things on what not to do. Stacy has actually was the one who opened up my eyes on what my standards. She didn't say this. She might didn't even know what she was doing. You probably don't even know it, but she would say things, and I would think, like, yeah, why am I doing that? Like she'd be like, because she had like Stacy, like the sister. She's that. First of all, Beyonce, who? Okay, Stacy is absolutely gorgeous, and I look up to her. She's absolutely beautiful. So when she tells me things and she's being honest with me, like you know when somebody love you and have your back. That's why I would go back to Taylor's comment as well. When you have girlfriends and friends and family, friends and family who have your back, who really want to see the best for you, that is key. She will say certain things that will make me say, "Is she right?" And then for me, luckily, I listened. If you ladies don't listen, you're not going to advance. I promise you. If you do more talking than listening, you will fail. I don't care what is you trying to do. You will fail. Okay, that's a fact. And that really, really goes back, to my point again. Do you qualify for this man? Because the man that you're asking for, I'm assuming your standards are pretty high, right? You're gonna have to be pretty high as well. You're mentally, emotionally, you're gonna be able to have these conversations. You're gonna have to know how to express yourself in ways that you never had to been able to express yourself. You're going to have to be in a mental capacity that you never have been before. Now, if you want to deal with the same type of guy, then you stay right where you're at. But if you're trying to get better, the question I'm asking, do you qualify for him? Because that is really true. And people don't even really understand how that works, because women a lot of times just think, that they this and that, they look good. They go, no. There's this guy. He's I don't know if he's still a mayor. No, was she the? No, he was the mayor, and it was like a time in mid America. They were black, decent looking, no, decent looking, but his wife was a but. Because if you was to see him and see her, you'd be like, "What the heck do you see in her?" I mean, because her physical appearance off top is not attractive, right? I mean, I'm being honest, because you've met some people where they just really wasn't attractive. Okay. But once you got to know her and talk to her, you'll be like, nah, I see why they're together. That's not. Is that my phone? Oh, I have
Yes,
someone
that's my phone.
calling in.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna have to decline you, Eugene. I think that was from you. Do you know a Eugene Conway? No, you didn't
I
miss the
do.
chat. I'm gonna paste the link here for him to call in. So at least we
Okay.
know that the Facebook works. Woohoo! That's what you have. This is what you get for
I
having a professional producer.
I'm
Okay.
trying to learn. I'm trying to
Um,
learn.
so it took me. You had a lot going on with your Facebook, so I finally got it together. So thank you. But my point is this: saying that women, I'm speaking to the women. You have to learn how to listen and to learn and to take what a man is telling you gently. It may feel harsh. It may feel like if a man that you're dating is telling you he wants you to improve on something, you need to listen. See, that's where a lot of women go wrong. They do not listen. So my point with the mayor guy, who's a mayor, the wife, physically looking, not attractive. But once you got to talking to her, that all goes out the window. Now you see why he's married to her, intelligent, smart, and then she begins to start looking beautiful to you at this point because her personality is wonderful. You know, I mean, everything, the whole package. She fits him, right? So again, some women will say it's not all about just having to look good, you know, like that, but it's very important to understand how this dynamic work between you and a man that is worth something. Okay. So thank you very much, Eugene. I'm assuming that you're listening. You could just put your comments in the chat section because right now you're doing like a DM sort of thing. But Eugene, he said he's at work. He's on his way. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. If you want to log in, you definitely can. But if not, you know, just let us know. But you can comment in the Facebook comment section, or you can please do, because if we get to 100 subs, Tia Marie is going to disclose some important information. Is there a lag on my end?
Let's see. My mic was off. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I just want to make sure it's not a lag on my end. So just for Eugene, thank you so much for DMing us. You can just comment in the comment section under the live video. But thank you very much. He's wanted to send a shout out to us. So thank you, Eugene. We appreciate it. So that's my 5 tips. I mean, you know, so that's where I'm going with this What say you?
So I'll go in reverse. So when you were saying about just like, are we ready? One of the rules, if you will, like, you know, was, and I'm gonna say it this way, but then I'm gonna make it gentle after. Be quiet.
You'll give me a boom boom. Yes.
Shut up. Shut up. And what I mean by that is, if you have a complaint, give it to your girlfriends. That's who that's for. If you want to
The ones we
complain
trust.
and moan, yeah, the ones you trust. If you want to complain and moan, that's great. But make the time that you have with a person that is of some significance to you as far as your relationship, make that time that's just for you all. That is one of the biggest mistakes that I, as a woman, have made and that I watch other women make. He is listening, but he not listening because that ain't what he
And why
want to
should he?
hear.
Because we don't care about what we talking about, whatever. Like, who cares? Just think about what he's saying. Do you really care about the basketball thing or I don't know what men talk about, right? I don't
know what men talk about, but
they say the same thing about us. Like, what?
I don't know what they talk about. So that's just a little tip for the datings. Now, once you're married, of course, you got to talk about like family stuff.
This is for the women as they
this
over
is for
40.
the women that are. This is for the women that are over 40 that
We're
are
trying
dating.
to get married. Because like me, I put myself out there. I'm single.
Yeah.
The kind of relationship I want to be married. So I'm putting myself out here. Now, I would love for the married.
Am I getting some smoke? I'm getting some tech smoke. Okay, ladies, I know. Ladies, I know.
You don't have to share the name, but share the comments.
Did I just ask people to? Did I just ask a woman to shut up?
Oh yes.
Yes, I
did.
If
you didn't hear her, I will say, shut up. If you cannot control your mouth, You cannot control your life. Even if you feel some kind of way.
Okay,
This
I
is the art
got
of
a kiss.
femininity. This is the art of femininity. This is the art of self-control. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. All right. Oh, wait, hold on.
I know.
Before you go here on this one.
I told you I'm getting smoked. All right.
Charles Alexander. Charles, me and Charles, we got this. We got energy match, Charles. Okay. He says, here's the truth and advice for brothers. And I love that too, because he's a man. And I love that. After 110, 15, or 20 years, you still have to work at your marriage, no matter what length you are. You are correct. Men spend time with the missus because if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
This is true. Okay, do the next. Charles is right. I mean, that's from a man.
Men spend the time. And just imagine that time that he's spending with you is unpleasant. Now, just imagine if he was spending that time with you and it's actually pleasant. Wouldn't you get more benefits out of this? Would you rather have someone to be there because they got to make his life happy, or because he really, truly want to? Because you know how to talk, you know how to listen. Also, Charles, I got you. He said after 10, 15, 20 years. But I got you too, because hopefully we can live to be 110 together. I always wanted that. Like I always feel like it's not enough time to be with the man that you love. That's just my personal opinion. Even if you get 20, 50, it's just probably still never enough time. So I get you on that. Now we also have something for Asia. All right. Okay. She says, what do you mean by shut up?
Well, I told y'all, I'm gonna get it in the chat. All right.
I need one of those like bam,
can I just say, first of all, I just am very glad that Miss Asia Elamine is on here. Thank you so much for watching. So I did clarify if you go back. So Miss Asia, do you mind me sharing your relationship status so I can make this statement?
No. She's I don't know. I don't know what that means. So let's
all right. So I specifically said women over 40 who are dating. She is not dating anymore. She is married. But you know why she got married? Because she shut up. No, I'm kidding. No.
Maybe we got to go on. Is that the green light?
Yeah, that's the green light. So the reason why I say that is we do so much talking. I have done it, including, and she has given me some of this advice, to be quiet and listen. He will say all of the things that you need to know. If you haven't asked it, if you allow the space for him to speak, you will learn a lot more than we as women tend to learn about a man because we aren't listening. When you all are on dates, when you all are, getting to know each other, make sure you're leaving room for him to help you get to know who he is. I also heard this from a man who said, if you're sitting there going, well, I want a guy that's this, and this, then guess what? He will find his way into being. He'll just be those things that you did. Like, he's just going to perform. He's not going to let you see these things in his character and in the way that he is with you. You only can discover that if you are somewhat reserved. We tend to be very communicative, and we sort of complain that men are not communicative. But in this space, in the dating space, we need to switch that role a little bit and listen more and leave space for him to talk more, because he will answer a lot of those questions. The other thing is that most men don't like a loud woman. Most of the women that I know are very feminine and very reserved in the way they handle themselves and the way they talk. So they're not like yelling at their man. No man, and really no woman. So if you know you don't like being yelled at, don't yell at him. If you can't speak to him in a respectful voice or a tone in which you are still being respectful because this is the person that you said you cared for, then you should probably not be talking. And again, you also don't allow him to yell at you, right? Because that's just not respectful. So I did make the distinction that it's women who are dating and not women who are married. Because when you're married, you obviously have to talk about all kinds of other things. that really pertain to the success of your household, the success of your marriage. I mean, you're going to have a lot of other kinds of conversations. So the shut up tip was for our single ladies. But I told you I was getting some heat in my texts. I got a couple ladies that do not like that I said that. And I get it, ladies. I get it. Because it's new, it's different. The first time I learned that, and realized that I was literally talking over the information that I actually wanted, I had to take a step back and just sort of chill a little bit, listen more, hear and look for the things that are aligning with what I hope the relationship can be, but that won't come if you're still talking. So yes, ladies, in the kindest blue hearts of all hearts, shut up. Okay.
Shut the F up. And in fact, I also too think when we say this, the woman who may disagree with this,
Well, they
they're
don't
thinking
understand
of
it. It
of
sounds
the
rude.
man,
Yeah.
and they're also thinking about the type of man that they're dealing with. Because there's a certain man that has a presence. If you haven't experienced that, then maybe you really don't understand. And that's again, are you ready? There's a certain kind of man that's going to make you humble your ass all the way down.
Yeah.
Period. And if you don't know how to control yourself once you meet that type of man, this is where we say, shut up. If you go on a date with a person, if you're dating, again, this particular show is about 5 tips for women who are single and dating. If you go on a date, do less talking and more listening. You're going to have the best date of your life.
Mm-hmm. And Asia Elamine, thank you. Can you put where you are texting from? She put in the chat exactly what I was saying, because this was advice that actually was given to me from her as well, which is the reason to be quiet really is to leave space for them to talk and for you to read more than what is being said, so that you can actually hear what needs to happen. Yeah,
because that's what we doing.
Absolutely. But I gotta say, shut up, because sometimes we just need to be told to shut up because we don't know. We don't know, and it's okay that we don't know because we're learning tonight.
And I didn't know either. Oh, so she's
Oakland in the house.
Oakland, California, baby. So we got some Oakland.
Oh my goodness, it's in my other room. I just printed out the picture of her and her husband while they were vacationing on a beautiful, beautiful trip. And I actually just printed out your picture that's going to go on my picture frame. The picture you guys sent me, I think it was for New Year.
We support, me particularly, I support all marriages, but Black marriages in particular, like really to be able to maintain it, like whatever you guys need to do, you also need a support group as well too, right? So there's one girl, I'm just going on something else. She's like, when we call those people that do like this show is rated PG. I guess I can't say it, but a lot of her marriage friends come to her to get some ideas. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
To kind of spice things up. So and that's what I mean by support too, in a lot of ways, because hey, she might, because when you're married, you in your bubble, right? So you might need to know what's happening over here and get some ideas so you can spice it up and keep it going. So thank you so much, Asia from Oakland, California. Knows how to party. California. I want to go to Cali too. I've never been to California, believe it or not.
Yeah, the last time I was there, I think I was visiting both of them. Her and her wonderful husband. All right, so a little checkup in the chat. Any questions or like maybe off-topic type things? I'm happy to answer them, and then I'm going to do a couple other things that you went back to, because we talked about what you should look like, and I just don't want to leave the ladies out there not having some context about what that sounds like. And then we're going to talk about attitudes.
Oh Lord.
Oh, he said, Cali is nice. Yes. And also in the chat is how you can get onto the stream. Please subscribe. Please, please, please share, guys. This is a new space for me. It's a new space for me. And so I'm just getting my feet wet here and just trying to understand what audiences I can reach.
What's happening?
Yes. All right. So we talked about how a woman should look, right? So first and foremost, you have to look in the best way that makes you feel like you just light up a room. Because if you don't feel good about how you look, you will not light up the room. So while some of this is your own, aura, your own preference, get your own style, I definitely recommend that. But when adding to that, what men are looking for is not another really, they're looking for the things that make us special,
Yeah,
right?
make
They're
it.
looking for our gentleness, they're looking for our sexiness, they are looking for our aura. They are drawn to this thing that's called this magic, right? And you all know what it is. It's that for black girls, it's called black girl magic. But for the other ladies, y'all figure out what y'all magic is called, because I do not know. I will let you self prescribe your
Mine is
magic.
rated R, so I can't say.
Well, some people is rated R, but it is that you are showing up out into the world, saying to the world that you are open to new experiences, that you're open to new conversations, you're open to
Mm,
new ideas and
great.
expressions, and you are ready for what those opportunities look like. And so I like to, and I'm going to just, for me, what I have found to be successful is I try not to leave the house with my hair looking any kind of way, but I wouldn't do that
I can't
anyway.
wear a bonnet.
Well, tell me this. What do you hope to impact in your bonnet?
I just want to go to the grocery store and pick up some bread and milk,
Okay, that's
and boom, put
probably,
my bonnet on.
if that is your goal, then what you will come back with is your bread and your milk, and
And no man.
probably, and no man.
Well, you gotta
Um,
go out and get your own bread and milk in your bonnet because you was rest comfortable in your bed. You could stay
well,
in your
I
bed if
have
you had a
found
man.
that most men who are attracted to women really get their visuals, so their eyes are turned and their interest is piqued when you are carrying yourself in a way that looks like you woke up that morning ready for the day, ready for, again, new opportunities, new experiences, as well as new interactions. If my hair is pulled up and I'm, coming out in my sweats, and I'm probably, my whole aura is not saying, let me talk and go and meet people. My aura is like, let me get into the CVS, grab my prescription, and get home quickly. And that is what I will do. That is what, but do not expect that that is the same aura that will also make a guy go, "Ooh, look at that girl over there bent over with no face put together, crust in her eyes, teeth not brushed."
Shit, not the
And I'm
cross.
not saying that there is not a sense of like, yeah, there's no perfection, right? There's no, I don't want you to feel like you have to be at some perfect status. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is most people
I
don't even
am.
let their children, well, I'm not talking about perfection because that's elusive. What I'm saying is your goal is, are you presenting yourself so that if you are single, that you would pique the interest of others to want to come and meet you, want to come and talk to you, find you attractive, find you alluring, find you intriguing, and you know what you look like on your best day and what that looks like. You know how you know? That's the day that you're complimented. That's the day that people notice you or notice something about you. They might notice your jewelry or notice your nails or notice the outfit that you're wearing or the shoes that you are wearing. It is on those days that you are looking approachable and that you look like you are ready for the day. And so those are the days that you are more likely to pique the opposite sex interest, because they are very visual and they're looking for those kinds of cues that you are a person who is open to their introduction.
Okay. So you're saying if I'm a single lady and I
And I
want to meet
want to
men,
not be single.
right? Exactly. That's the whole
Mhm.
goal. Because if you want to be, if you single and want to stay single, then what we're
Check
saying
yourself out.
is not.
Find your way.
It's
This
not
show
for.
is not. This show is not for
Yeah.
that.
This is for the woman who really want to find a quality mate. You go no matter where you go, whether it's to the grocery store. And we're going to have another show about where to meet quality men at, because that's a lot of women want, because they're so used to meeting the average guy that they were meeting before, but they want to meet more quality men now, right? So they want to know where are some of the places that you can go to meet. So if I'm going to the grocery store, don't put my bonnet on. At least look as presentable as I can at all times. Is that what you're saying? Is that correct? I'm going to the grocery store to get. That's what I'm asking, to get some bread and milk.
Well, yes, that's what I'm saying. If you go to get your milk and your bread and you want to pull your hair back now, and I'm not going to say that there are not some men who will be like, you know what, you are rocking those sweats, girl, and that bonnet. Okay, yes, I'm sure. Okay, I'm sure.
Bon appetit to the bonnet.
But and fellas and ladies, you all are welcome to put what you want in the chat. Let me see what you think about what I'm saying. I'm good with that.
Let me get me a bonnet. I gotta find me. I don't even own a bonnet. I gotta find me a bonnet.
If you are hoping to intrigue the interest or pique the interest, she said when she was working on her building and got female attention when I had makeup on. Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, okay, so Asia says, I gotta say though, when I was single, I pulled more men when I looked like I was looking when I was working on my building, and got female attention when I had makeup on. Really? Wow. That is interesting. I don't really get it.
Well, remember, no, you and I have had that kind of talk too, when I told you that you can walk in looking all put together, but because of that other, what do you call it, the manosphere, there's another thing happening. So I don't think she's wrong, but yeah, that is what also happens. So yes.
And what I would say to that, Asia, like this, the Annie up part of it, those men, okay, so from what I've learned being professionally single, those men who were more comfortable, because I used to say that too, that I would get more men that they wanted to talk to me when I didn't have any makeup on. And in fact, I was in a relationship, not just one, but two. They got to a point where they said, well, why don't you just put your hair in a bonnet? We didn't have bonnets back then. We used to wrap our hairs up in a scarf or whatever. Why don't you just why you gotta dress up every day? Like that was how I knew I was dating the wrong men. They had a problem with me because I've always been like this, right? So, but they had a problem with it. They would actually come and say, why don't you just wear your hair regular? Like, why you got to get done up every day? But that's how I was raised. So for me, when I hear that, I would say, my spider sense is going off and saying, nope, wrong man, because they are more comfortable with me not being more presentable, because I'm going to have more access to different men now because I am more presentable versus the girl who's not. And that's what I've learned, that the guys who are more comfortable dating me, I'm gonna tell you this, men, they want to say high value men or whatever, but men, they want their woman to look good. Because if you look good, they make them look good. A good looking woman elevates that man. If a man with money, status, bring around Boomquisha with the bonnet on versus I said that's looking very classy and ladylike, which one's going to get elevated more, of you with Boomquisha or someone that's classy? So that's how I realized too, a lot of times men will be more comfortable dating a woman who's not did up because he can't afford her. But if you done up, you fly, like I said, your standards, like I'm not going to no Jeezy concert, so I'm not dressed in gym shoes. Like if I got on gym shoes versus my Ferragamo pump heels, that guy not going to approach me. Why? Because I'm out of his league. So that's just if we're talking relationships. So, that's just where I'm at with that. So, yes.
But thank you, Asia, for your comment. I appreciate it. Any other comments that anybody wants to share? Any fellas that
I'm really loving the conversation.
Okay, so here's what I would love. I would love a fella. one of our gentlemen, to tell us, are we on base or off base?
I love that.
Or is there some place that we just haven't even thought
Is there
about?
a medium? Because I think guys may go into the medium thing, like, okay, you can look regular ran on a house or something like that. I don't know. This is what I'm thinking. I'm just projecting, fellas. And then when you go, wow, I want you to look nice. So let's say this is how old I am. I'm old now. Dang. If we go to, like, remember people go out back then, they dressing after 5.
Yeah, I don't even know if we do that anymore. Do we? Well, I think we kind of still do. You know, the outings have changed a whole lot.
It's like
Like,
pre-COVID. We can just go
yeah, so
pre-COVID.
the outings have changed a lot, but I will say,
Like,
I can remember, like, there's a work sort of outfit and the after 5. I think that still happens, but I know some work is more mobile now and
again,
at home
do you
and
ladies
what
wear
have you.
slips? Do any of you ladies own a slip?
Ooh, do Spanx count?
Yeah,
Okay.
that counts. Because it is like an undergarment, you know. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Charles Alexander says, see my above comments. DEI is working. Oh, so diverse equity and inclusion is working, Charles? I don't know if I'm agreeing with this. Now, we was in our same energy. Now, Charles, help me out. What do you mean by that? Is he saying it's feminism?
Oh, no, he's saying, but today, women in the services, the military, and who are first responders from DEI policies,
I didn't see that one.
thus have been that have been implemented are equally attractive today. So he's saying that women who are in because of DEI and diversity being more open to women, that they first responders and people like that are equally attractive, as opposed to women who maybe don't do those things. I'm not. I think that's what he's saying.
Okay. I can't comment on that, but again, as a feminine woman, I will not be a first responder. He said yes. Okay.
Okay.
I
Well,
would
this
go
is what I will
with
say.
those professions personally. I have a very conservative view on what I think women should do. Y'all might think I would say women should be at home barefoot and pregnant. Not 100%, but I have a very conservative view on what I think women should do. It's just my opinion. Okay, go ahead. I'll not be a first responder. And I gotta wear the outfit and
I
all that
probably
stuff.
am a first responder and don't even know it. No, I'm just
Right. I know. Right? And see, and that's the thing too, because we such giving people. A lot of times women, we get so wrapped up in this. I'm not working at no plant. It's just not gonna happen. If I can't wear heels or whatever when I go to work, you know, like working at the hotel, that was cool because our uniform was pretty, you know, it was like a 3-piece suit,
Yeah.
right? So that was cool. But I want to wear heels and stockings when I go to work. Some women want to be first responders. I mean, I'm not doing that, and it's not feminine. So call me a what they call me a misogynist.
You're about to upset a whole lot of people.
I'm just telling you. Again, I don't want no man looking over to me asking me what we gonna do because I don't know.
So this is what we will say. I have seen on social media, because that's my window into other people's households, is what they decide to share out, right? And what I noticed is that, like, there was a couple of videos. It was like ladies who are doctors and ladies who are first responders and nurses, and they were doing this like challenge. And what they did was they like came out of their uniforms and then they were just like bombshells. And even that tells me like what's underneath is the bombshell, because even they know that that's the other thing. So
I think what you're talking about. Yes.
If that is your day, I'm good with it. But then if you come out and you look like they did when they were just like, I'm still a bombshell because I'm still a woman, there's still femininity around me and about me, I'm good with that too. That they know that they are women, that they know that they look good when they do dress up, when they do, put it all together, their little jewelry, high heels. Yeah.
So in saying that, after I get off work, is that a rare occasion that I'm getting bombshelled, or is that a normal occasion?
A lot of it is probably time in like my sister-in-laws are nurses and very, very little time. But when they do go out, they look like models.
Oh,
When they
oh,
do go
I've
out
seen. I
with
mean,
my brothers, they look like models. Okay.
drop dead gorgeous. Well,
Yeah.
I should say alive gorgeous. Because yes, I've seen. I'm like, again, is this all the time or some of the time? Like, I want to see your beauty.
Well,
all
see,
the
I know,
time.
well, that's true, but I think what they understand, because I don't know that every space is willing to, what I want to say, like,
I just want to say this.
so this is what I will say.
Not to
When
cut you off.
they dress up when it counts. When they're going out with my brothers, out on the town or
Asia.
out, they are looking like bombshells.
See, I'm
And
trying to get
so,
to Asia status, not to cut you off. Asia says she's going to eat
oh,
dinner with her husband. Forget what y'all talking about. Okay.
yeah,
I'm about to go
yeah.
eat with my husband, and I'll holler at you ladies later. Deuces. Okay. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
I'm trying to get there, Asia. Help me. Help us, sister. Oh, I would love to hear some of your pointers and some of the things. If you've been, I know you've been married. I don't even know how long. Like, I haven't seen you in for ages, right? So I would love for you to just come on one time and you got a camera up and kind of give us us single gals, myself, some pointers, please. And thank you. Have a great dinner with your husband. You're on the West Coast, so it's quite early still over there. So thank you very much. But also, before, I know you had a point. If you just give me 1 second, please, Tia Marie. Charles Alexander said something that I really want to have a separate show on. I will definitely touch on this topic. He says, so after several years of government work, because he lives in DMV, so he definitely have that experience. DEI, and DEI is, can you explain that real quick, Tia? Is
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
So we know what that means. Policies have put women in all kinds of positions. Men and myself have had to accept these ladies in these new positions. See what I'm saying, Charles? And they proud about it too. They boasting around, talking like, I got my degree. I don't need no man. They didn't went crazy. So I'm with you on that as well. Well, I'm not sure you're saying that exactly, but yeah. So now, and to me, Charles, is another separate topic. I believe that was done on purpose. I really do. I think it was done on purpose. It has definitely created divide extremely in the Black community. Women are beginning to think that they are men. They're acting like men, maybe because they're making more money. I don't know, but I believe that it is definitely done on purpose. Or if not, it's definitely a byproduct of a bigger, larger scheme. And it has put a huge gender war that we're having right now, honestly, in the Black community specifically. So I would love to go more into that. And I agree with that as well. And as a woman, I personally would not want to be in any of those positions, but more power to them. I don't want to get up every morning and fight traffic and go to work. No, thank you. Okay, I like being at home, being cute in my robe and my bubble baths. So there we go. So I don't know if you heard that, but Charles
I did.
had a great point. Like, I totally agree with that. So, but if you want to say anything about that comment, Tia Marie.
So I think that's why I'm on the fence with this one, because again, what I don't want is to go back to a time where women had no rights, women had no say so, their husbands dictated or determined everything for them. So I'm not nostalgic of a time when those marriages meant no rights. I'm not nostalgic for that time.
Yeah.
But I believe understand the other side of this, which is we're also not actually in our energy, that in our feminine space that we're supposed to be in, because we're either forced to be the only and sole providers. We are subject to this sort of upward mobility that means that we're in a position where it says we can't do both. We're in a position where if you want to, and the men who would be choosing us are not being reared the same way we're held to the standard of who we're supposed to be. And so that's what I'm on the fence about a lot of this stuff, because it's just so many other nuances that I know we're not talking about tonight, but Yes and no.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole
Hmm.
that we can definitely need to definitely touch. I agree because whew, that's another rabbit hole. I definitely want rights. I don't
Hmm.
want to be stuck like back in the day. So, but I
Yeah, and
definitely want
a lot of
to
our
be a fireman.
grandmothers and mothers, maybe even to some degree, out there, they were. And so this upward mobility for women, while it has meant coming from up under the oppression of those non-right experiences, we also only have a frame of what womanhood is
You
by the
know,
white woman
I really want to
for
get
us,
more. I want, yeah.
not
I'm
one we
sorry, really.
designed ourselves.
I'm sorry I wasn't listening to you. I was reading a man's comment, so your voice kind of went over. But Charles, he said something that I mean, I want to. This he Charles Alexander says yes, black and white women in the DMV are highly educated leaders in high positions and are married, mother, and single. But also, I want to say this: you have white couples who
Hmm.
women who are educated, they may make a lot of money. However, well, this is the manosphere talking point, not mine's. There's the women are still feminine and submissive, but then on the contrast, you have black women who are highly educated, make money. They are unsubmissive, they are uncooperative. So I'm really curious about that because you look at the stats, married women, white married women do have higher educations, right? But black men are saying, hey, we don't care about your education. We don't care how much money you make. We just want three things. They want you to be fit, feminine, and friendly. Everything else is a wrap.
That's why I
But
mentioned that we have the standard of what we understand our femininity and the standard that we have been given as women is actually not a standard we created.
do you think that's kind of where the confusion comes in at? Like it's not our culture. We're kind of, we are prisoners of war pretty much. So we're acquiescing and adapting to our oppressors' reality versus ours because black women and men are completely different creatures as white people. I mean, obviously, we just different. Like they like is different. So a black woman may be as feminine as possible as giving birth, but whatever. We have a black feminine woman versus a white feminine woman, and we just don't measure up because white is looked at soft, pure Snow White, fair, all of these delicate words are attributed to white women. But then when you have a black woman with education and a white woman with education, it doesn't matter. We still looked at as being more masculine.
Hmm.
So now you have my talking points with saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to get none of this. I'm just going to be feminine. And let's see how that works. Experiment. I don't know. I could be wrong. And this is the real talk. So this is how the men. It's a process. Very confusing. Black men to me are confused too. But let's just play along with your. I'm gonna roll with you, right? So let's just see if it works or not. But if a woman wants you to make more money, see, I've heard this guy. So if you meet a guy, standards, he's a blue collar, right? So blue
Hmm.
collar, the average black man makes 48,000. 50. Let's round out to 50. You marry the average black man, but you want some trips, you want to be able to, do some things, right? And 50,000 right now is not a lot at all. But let's just say you married a blue collar guy, perfect. But you like, babe, you can start your own thing. I could be the bookkeeper, the secretary. We can make at least another extra 20, 30,000 bring into the house. But that man is very comfortable at that 50. Another show. Charles says all interesting points. I agree. And I'm still learning. I am a student of Neely Fuller Jr. I'm still learning. I don't know. But those are some questions that I have.
Yeah, that's what I said. There are some other nuances and layers to some of the rules that we shared because I do know that we are up against some of those standards. What what we're measured by is what beauty is by a white standard. what we're measured by, and our ability to be educated is measured by a white standard. Um, all of these things, I wanted to go back to the attitudes, and then our fathers teaching us what our fathers taught us. I You brought up a point that I had not ever even thought about, which is our fathers taught us to be these strong, black, accomplished, well educated, well rounded women, and they did not talk about marriage for two things. One, I assumed that they thought, okay, you're watching my marriage with your mom, so that all of this stuff would just sort of, we would glean this understanding. You see how I treat your mom, and to some degree, I think we did. But the flip side of that was telling us to be strong, telling us, I think they knew that our options for partners would be challenged. And there was going to be some things that we needed to know, because we were maybe not going to find that in a partner. And until we talked about that yesterday, that had never dawned on me. Um, and so you have this upward mobility from the outside for women in work and all these different things, which we progressed and we evolved, but our partners or the men that we are around or subjected to, not subjected, have at our disposal to date, they have not been developed the same way. They have not grown up and caught up to our progress. They have not grown up and caught up to our presence and our abilities. And so we are still having to maybe fit into this traditional mold, whether we like it or not, but having to fit into this traditional mold because it has never been broken what today's woman is, and having a lot of men reach the level that we're at, because that's going on too.
Can you hear me?
I can. What did you
Okay,
say?
great. Yes. Taylor Banks said, wow, that is a great point. And I say this too, Taylor, I had a father, he died when I was really young, but even before he passed away, he always instilled into me, make sure I go to school, get a good education, take care of yourself. Even my aunts who were married to, let's just say, good men for the most part, right? But they still instill that in you. And every woman, I'm sure, just about, can say the exact same thing.
Mhm.
And I think about this. They knew, even because I go back to, I told you, Tia, my mom, I asked my mom, well, how far do hussies go back, right? Because you had women who were hussies, right? They would have sex back then. That was really, we talking 1920s and 30s. Okay, I'm talking that far back. You still had what we would call thoughts today, or 304s, or just thoughts. I think that's the best word people can get, on that level. So you always had women like that. Now the men knew they probably always had men who were no good too, who would go around, have children, didn't want to work. Because I remember back, your dad could probably talk about this a lot too. In the South, they didn't really want no good jobs, so they'll move up north to get good jobs. My mom said this. My uncle sent back for one of his friends saying, "Hey, you can make this much money." He didn't even want to go. Another friend went. He saw my uncle's check because he was working in Detroit. Saw my uncle's check. He told his family, hey, I'm gonna go to Detroit, see what it's like. I'm gonna send for you. That man never sent back for his family ever again. So you got all these different scenarios, different type of, these we talking 1940s, 50s that were doing that, right? Because now they can get money now. Because back then they were poor. Before that, black men as a group did not make, or black people did not make any money. So now these factory jobs are available. So you got the migration up north. You had men who never would send for their family, or some had 2-3 families. Not all, but so men, I think our fathers kind of knew, hey, most of these ain't about nothing. As a group, not individually, you're going to get some great men, because there are some great men. There's no doubt about it. But I think subconsciously our fathers was preparing us for the future.
And I think that they were also aware that we were in a position for the first time to have choice, something their sisters and their mothers did not even have.
So the manosphere today man would say, well, you really don't need that. The black man today would say, you don't need a choice, because I'm going to take care of you. All you got to do is be fit, feminine, and friendly. There's this one girl I talked to. She said her grandmother and grandfather had a pet that she would get no bigger than 125 pounds, because that's what he liked. So Charles Alexander says, so there is a post that a black woman reposted on Twitter about an article a white man wrote, who said that if black women marries a black man, they lose. Settle down. Keyword settle. And Tia Marie, you went out a little bit, but we're gonna go ahead. And it says the black woman
I'm
was
still here.
blasted. I just don't see your picture, just so you know.
Okay.
That's okay. The black woman was blasted by black groups for reposting that article. Listen, so this is the thing going around now, Charles. Now, and I will ask that same white man who posted that and says, why do black women lose? Because white men have created a system to not allow black men to win at all. So that the fact that a white man I will blast her too. And I'm going to play devil advocates on this, but the fact that a black woman would post this, meaning she don't understand the system of racism, white supremacy. So let's flip it on the flip side. Let's not go too deep. Let's just say she posted it. She is correct, and it's very correct, because I asked black men, you own and control nothing. Our neighborhoods we don't have neighborhoods. We have hoods, right? The baby boomers, the silent generation, they didn't start buying up property and owning and controlling anything worth of any consequence at all. If you have at all. So you're right. The black man is conquered mentally, physically, in all areas of people activity. We have to go to the white man as a black woman. Now she's working for one, the boss. That's where if she's not working, he give her resources, aid. If she commit a crime, because black women are the highest growing demographic in the prison population.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing crime, we're going to provide you with a cot and a hot meal and slave labor. All the while, you were unprotected by a black man who can guide you, because he has already created an establishment for you, an environment for you, so you can thrive in your femininity. But the black man has refused to even accept this responsibility. So now the black woman is saying, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to abort black male fetus. We're not even going to produce you no more. So you got the women that's posting this, because, really, you do kind of lose, but you really don't win with a white man either, because white people practice white supremacy. So you do not win being with the white man. That's either true or false. Okay, there's no debate on that. However, that statement is true in a way if you want to look at it in the total context, because we're in the system of racism, white supremacy. The black man controls and owns nothing. But for a white man to say that and the black woman to repost it, yes, she needs to be checked, but it needs to be checked in the context of understanding why. Because most people probably can't articulate it that way, because we ask the white man why the black man is losing. Why don't they own and control anything? Because when we try to, guess what they do? They bomb you.
Burn down your town.
They create red lighting. They put drugs in your community. They pay black people millions of dollars to call us bitches, hoes, and gangsters and thugs. You're not gonna get $1 million for saying the black woman is a queen and we're kings and you're not gonna get no money for that.
You'll never hear it.
They'll tell you, well, people don't like it. Prove it. What if that was all the music we heard? They're gonna pay you millions of dollars to degrade ourselves. And but again, guess what we do? We go and get the money instead of saying, you know what, all rappers, we're not gonna talk like that no more. It's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball players say, you know what, we're not gonna play basketball anymore until
you treat our
yes.
people, our community,
The men should be the
until you build a
leaders.
grocery store, until you build
Exactly.
a medical clinic, until you build a school
Yes.
that turns out. I was just on a Zoom earlier tonight, and one of the groups was like, not only have we been talking about the educational gap, and I know we're kind of away from couples, but let's just
we
get
are
into
talking
it.
about singles, but that's
But
if you want to have kids,
they
with
were
a man
saying
too.
that, yeah, they were saying in the group, and there was people that were in the group that were up into their 70s, and they were saying that the age gap was something that we're discussing today in 2022. I mean, the not the age gap, the achievement gap of Black students, not just in Michigan, but all across the United States. And one of the other speakers said, well, I remember that when in the 80s we were talking about this. Then another older person who was in their 70s, they were like, we were talking about this in the 70s. And then another older person said, we were talking about this before desegregation. The achievement gap has never not existed for the Black community. And so if we don't understand how these things happen by design and then take them back, it might mean you teach your own kids. It might mean you grow your own food. It might mean you only shop at Black businesses. It might mean you only marry people who look like you to maintain the sanctity of our survival, that you protect yours. Protect yours. And yours is every person in your community, your own children, your own spouse. Until we understand that, like we're just sort of churning our wheels in another person's game and we're getting played. But that's a whole nother show.
Yes, another
Ooh,
show.
y'all
But
not
that
ready
would
for
be on
that show.
our Saturday morning show, really
Yeah.
understanding how this works. But I just want to thank everybody. We have had a really good conversation. We have hopefully learned a few things, on some tips. We also have a comment from Taylor Banks. Taylor says, every other culture can stay within. Why can't we, honey? I love you.
White supremacy, or as I'm not Sasha Barris, Kendra Barris says, racism, slavery. We are just a very broken people in our, and I say this to say not that there is not strength in our community, because there's a lot of strength. And so I don't take away from anyone who is out there really trying to hold all these pieces together. But we are never asking ourselves, why are we holding all those pieces together? Why are we continuing? And what can we change? What do we need to do differently so it doesn't look like that? But all of us have to be moving in that direction, or a fair majority of us need to be moving in that direction. But that's where it comes back to, who are you? Before you can even show up in that relationship, you do need to know who you are and what you are capable of, and what is your goal. What kind of life do you want for yourself? And so thank you, Taylor, for your question.
That was a beautiful question from a beautiful young lady. And Charles Alexander says, yes, we got to close the achievement gap and protect ours. Stay in the fight. I'm not fighting anymore.
Yes.
Taylor
And Taylor has my favorite thing that she already knows. I got a t-shirt.
I'm going to have a show on this. The code. So I'm going to really go into depth with that. So definitely stay tuned for that as well. Charles Alexander, I'm not fighting anymore, because this is what I think those sloganary words has put us so far back. What I'm saying is stay on code, and this is the code, right? So I'm not going to get too deep in it. No more fighting, no more marching, no more of that. We're going into think tanks. We're putting our money behind what we're saying. And we're going to have exact agendas on what we want. And we are unapologetic about any of this. We are Black first, race first. Everything else doesn't matter. And if Black people not on board, no problem. You don't have to be. Just move on to the side. It's no hard, no foul. So definitely, I do appreciate that, but we definitely got to close. We have in all areas of people activity, we are behind. We are the lowest in every matrix system there is. We are at the bottom. Even the Mexican community, the Latina community are moving above us. Do you know Black women and Black men have the highest unemployment rates that just came out this week?
Yep. I follow those stats every day.
Is that so? We keep losing. Okay, yes. So we're just getting ready to wrap up. We're going to shut everything down. But finally, we do have something from Taylor Banks. She says, and why do the women have to fight at all of the men's needs to step up? I'm not fighting anymore either. These are some of the strong talking points, Taylor, that a lot of the women talk about. But I will say this too as well. We can fight for them, but we can do it in a different way. Absolutely. No marching. One of the things, this is what I'm gonna say, and we can close off on this too. We can definitely talk about this well as too, Taylor. So they gave Black, I think it was a Goldman Sachs that gave Black women or women of color, I'm not sure, $10 million. And you know what I said? And I said, as a group of Black women, what I would have liked to see us do, and we still can do this. I don't know who's getting the money, but let's just say, as a group of Black women, we can come out against that and say, do not separate us. If you're going to give Black women money, give the Black men money too. Do not separate us. See, that's the part of the system. But if you don't understand how it works, we fall for it and think we're doing something. Or, they don't do that. We're just giving Latina women, white. No, they do this purposely because Black men need more money too. Right? It's like you got a brother and sister, and I said that it's like your father come in, it's like a whole bunch of boys and a whole bunch of sisters, but the parent come in and say, well, I'm just going to give the girls $10 million to start their life. And the boys are like, well, what about us? They're like, well, you fend for yourself. I mean, how is that fair? That's not fair. And as women, we should understand that and say, no, we reject it. If you can't, we'll say, I tell my son, Taylor, y'all know if I say one go to the bathroom, y'all all go to the bathroom when y'all at the park. If one leave, we all leave. If you can't give it to the men, don't give it to us either. That's being on code. And so that's my final word on that. I hope you guys learned something. Tia, you have the last word on this. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And I appreciate this. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so everybody, thank you again. I had no idea. I looked up. I was like, oh my gosh, I knew it was a longer show. I did not realize it was this long. So thank you all for watching. I know your time is very important and special, but I'm glad that you chose to spend it with me this evening. I hope you learned something. I learned a lot. Hopefully you felt included in the conversation. We will hopefully continue to take more comments. Thank you for your comments tonight. I'm going to do like a quick roll call. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Asia, because y'all don't even know. She don't even be on Facebook like that. Thank you to what was it? Reginald Austin. Thank you to We the Funk. Is that right? Where the funk at?
What the funk is this?
Oh, what the funk is this? And I gotta say it slow before I say it wrong.
I know, I gotta go real slow.
Thank you to I'm trying to think who was on early on. Thank you to Natalie for joining us. And I really do appreciate my producer. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and my producer, which is what they do, has made this actually come to fruition. So I'm really, really grateful for her help, her work, her production. Anything that you like about this show, you have her to thank for it. I literally show up and just start talking. All the work is done by her. So thank you. But because all of the work is done by her and we want to do more, we want to reach more, we want to market more, we want to handle more topics and make the production perfection, I do want to ask you guys to take a look at the bottom. You will see my Cash App. Please make your donation. I would truly, truly, truly appreciate it. If you can, it doesn't matter if it's $1 or $100. It is all going to go to good use. You all know how I am with money, and I make sure that everybody is taken care of because we all got to eat, right? So I thank you all. for joining us, and check us out on YouTube so that you can subscribe, share this show. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't. I will look at every single comment. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I love each and every one of you. Hashtag Team Unity Blue. Hashtag One Voice, One Novi. Hashtag It's Already Done. And blue hearts for all of you. I love you all very, very much. Thank you for your support and for continuing to follow me. Look for my next shows. I have one tomorrow morning as well as on Sunday for families. If you missed this, please watch it again later. Appreciate you all. Thanks for your comments and your time.
Everybody has a story of how things became what it is.
And all of the stories that we're experiencing up to date are all based on the original mythological story.
Myths are ways of codifying profound truths.
And so, in order to pass on the knowledge of these things, our ancestors began to put them in the form of stories.
Because myth becomes a way of speaking to that.
And it's all considered to be mythology because it is based on a belief.
And then we create rituals that reinforces the logic and the knowledge of the myth.
The story then goes into a ceremony that is constantly going to remind people.
That's where the rituals come in, where we begin to practice this, what they call Assyrian drama.
This story, this African story of an African trinity, is over 6,000 years old.
There's several different pieces of that story that are in direct correlation to the story of Jesus.
Scholars know this. Why do they allow people keep thinking it's a religion unless they have an untoward agenda? And it's very clear that they've created a lot of confusion